Pirates Fire Dragon Roar Chapter 761 to 780. Chapter 761 End. The battle ended very quickly, not because the enemy was too weak, but because Vlad was too strong. The square army led by Diamante is stationed in the arena. As the top cadre of the Don Quixote family, Diamante's strength should not be underestimated. He was appointed by Doflamingo as the supreme commander of this arena. Diamante's strength is trustworthy, at least according to Doflamingo. Paramesha has the ability to fly fruit, and Haki is proficient in two-color. It is always said that such strength is not weak even in the New World. But unfortunately, his opponent today is Vlad, the most invincible emperor on the sea, Vlad. There is no doubt about how strong his conqueror Haki is. As we all know, conqueror Haki cannot grow through cultivation. The stronger the conqueror Haki, the more powerful it needs to be to support it. As it happens, Vlad now has the most powerful strength in the world. So the battle ended like this. The square army in the arena was completely unaware that it was an enemy attack, but was destroyed by Vlad's amazing conqueror Haki in an instant. Until the end of the battle, they did not see the enemy's face. Even Diamante, who had high hopes for Doflamingo, was so sad. At the same time, even when Vlad was wreaking havoc in Dressrosa, on the other side, the battle in Punk Hazard was still continuing, and it had already begun to tilt towards the end. Don Quixote, Doflamingo, this man is very powerful, there is no doubt about it. But even a man as strong as him seemed a little powerless when facing so many masters and attacking at the same time. Fire Dragon Pirates ship Dr. Trafalgar Luo, under Fire Dragon Pirates, Captain Drake Pirates, Chi-Chi X Drake, Hawkins Pirates, Magician, Hawkins, and, just broke into the New World, it's over Straw Hat Luffy, Pirate Hunter, Zoro and Kurozu Sanji of the Straw Hat Gang who have been practicing for 2 years, each is an amazing powerhouse, but not to be underestimated. In addition, Bebo, the white bear who ate the copy fruit, after copying the ability of the dark fruit, Bebo's role in this battle is also quite prominent. After all, although Doflamingo has not considering a weak two-color Haki, in fact, this man does not rely on the fighting technique to eat. His biggest reliance is his thread fruit ability. After awakening, this ability is quite difficult to deal with, so the dark fruit ability that Bebo holds is highlighted in this way. Able to block Doflamingo's ability is already enough to make Doflamingo devastated. Damn little bastards. Doflamingo gritted his teeth. There have been many more wounds on his body, and he is no longer the same as before. After all, he is only one person, and of course he is a little powerless in the face of the siege of so many people. What a surprise. It's almost time to understand. You're done, Doflamingo. Luo said loudly, the famous sword Guiku in his hand waved rapidly, and countless slashes that were enough to tear the sky roared away. Cut. Growl, Doflamingo waved his hands, and countless white lines rose from the ground and surged into the sky. It was like an overwhelming ocean wave, with a strong Haki attached, rushing directly towards Luo's slash. Don't think about it. The huge Tyrannosaurus Rex rushed out from the other side, and the powerful force directly smashed Doflamingo's sea of lines. Damn. The whispered curse indicated the anger in Doflamingo's heart, and Luo's slash was approaching. Empty road. A loud roar, Doflamingo's body rose into the sky as if being pulled by something. Don't try to run. Bebo said loudly, and the right hand that was stretched out again was covered with black smoke. Dark water. No. A groan. The body that had already been flying towards the sky stopped directly, and then flew in the direction of Bebo instantly. In such a short moment, the slashing from the sky has reached Doflamingo's eyes. Damn it, damn it. A large amount of white silk threads poured out from Doflamingo's body, turning into a huge white wall blocking him. Chi. The slash mixed with the power of the surgical fruit is simply extremely sharp. The wall formed by the white line was completely unstoppable, and it was cut into pieces in an instant. Before the slash was over, it still slashed towards Doflamingo. Damn. He cursed angrily, but he couldn't do any more resistance. The dark armament hockey covered his body. When his body was pulled by the dark gravitational force of the dark fruit, he could only resist hard, right? No. Although Luo's slash did not completely break Doflamingo's hockey defense, there were still many gaps in Doflamingo's body, and his hockey amount was finally limited. Grizzly gun. A loud roar came from above, and a huge shadow had covered Doflamingo. Gatling. Boom. Like a fly swatter hitting a fly, Doflamingo's body was instantly smashed into the ground by two huge fists, but this was not the end. Countless huge fists like raindrops fell from the sky, constantly bombarding Doflamingo's body. Hee hee. In the sky, the straw hat with a smile on his face retracted his fist. Ouch! Underscore. The huge deep pit on the ground, Doflamingo gushed out a mouthful of blood. He didn't look good now. Luo had cut a lot of gaps on his body, and he was hit hard by the straw hat. Although he was very unwilling, but I have gradually come to understand that this time, I have no chance of winning. Dark cave. A loud roar came from above, and black smoke suddenly began to fill. Cut. Bouncing straight from the ground and jumping towards the sky, Doflamingo's face was very ugly. Don't try to run. So good. A huge Tyrannosaurus Rex suddenly appeared from behind. With his arms outstretched, he directly hugged Doflamingo's body. What? Doflamingo was terrified, and there was no way he could break free from the restraint of the powerful force. Then it seems that this time is really over. A slender figure suddenly appeared in front of Doflamingo. Luo had once again flashed through the ability of the fruit of surgery. The long knife in his hand did not know where to throw it, and both hands were flashing with dazzling brilliance. Damn brat! Roaring so loudly, a huge amount of silk threads suddenly spread from the ground, directly towards Luo, and Derek whistled. Your win rate is 0. The scarecrow suddenly stood in front of the silk thread, holding a black nail-like thing in his hand. With a slight wave, all the spreading silk threads were broken. If it can be repaired again, let's try to repair it. No matter how many times I repeat it, I will kill you again. Luo roared. His hands were already directly on Doflamingo's chest. Gamma knife, multiply by 2. Chapter 762 Clean Up. As the saying goes, two fists are hard to beat with four hands. Doflamingo is a rare powerhouse in the sea. There is no doubt about it, but even a powerhouse like him faces the siege of so many masters at the same time. It is absolutely impossible to win. The battle came to an end like this. He originally thought that he came to this island to abuse vegetables, but later found out that the situation was not right. He didn't seem to be a full-level tuba, but a wild boss who suddenly refreshed. Unfortunately, he was a foreign boss and was targeted by a group of advanced players. Ah! Scream was made, and the blood was like a fountain, sputtering out of Doflamingo's mouth, and Luo Wei, who was closest to him, was sprayed with blood. But Luo didn't feel unhappy at all because of this, and what flashed in his eyes was full of joy and excitement. It's been too long, waiting for this moment. I have been waiting for too long. For more than 10 years, I have been waiting for something like today to happen every day. Doflamingo, quote. Roaring like this, two gamma knives once again flashed dazzling brilliance on both palms. I won't give you another chance to fix it. Before Doflamingo landed, his two palms pressed heavily on Doflamingo's chest again. Wow! Blood spurted out, Doflamingo fell heavily to the ground, his body twitched continuously, and the blood from the corners of his mouth never stopped gushing. Tisk! The swordsman of the three swords style carried the sword on his shoulders with a slightly playful smile on his face. It looks like the hatred value is very high. What, is this the end? The straw hat beside him seemed very dissatisfied, and muttered softly. Hey, Brother Ming, stand up, the battle isn't over yet. Straw Hat cheered Doflamingo loudly. Hey. The yellow-haired chef looked a little speechless, and said. Luffy, don't be too hard on others, okay? It doesn't look like you can stand up, does it? Of course, he couldn't stand up anymore. Doflamingo was hit by 4 gamma knives in a row while his body was already seriously injured. He was not Charlotte Linlin. It's all broken, he's not Kaido, and he doesn't have that terrifying resilience, and it's not far from death now. R.O. Lying weakly on the ground, unable to see the heroic appearance before, Doflamingo whispered. You kid, you're doing a really good job. You're finished, Doflamingo. Luo said softly, in this case, Mr. Krasen, Shachi and Pei Jin will be able to be a little happier in heaven, right? But it seems a pity to let you die like this. You may know a lot of useful information for the captain. Yang. It was very laborious to smile, and blood kept pouring out of the corners of his mouth. Even though he was on the verge of death, Doflamingo's expression was as rebellious as ever. Really, Fire Dragon needs my information, that's really interesting. Huh. With a low laugh, Luo directly kicked Doflamingo's head, knocking the man unconscious. Then he took out an injection from his pocket and stuck it directly on Doflamingo's chest. It was an upgraded version of Passo's recovery gummies, a recovery potion. Although it couldn't directly cure Doflamingo's injuries, it hung his life and let him it is possible for him to live. Then, Luo turned around and faced the straw hats behind him. The Straw Hat Master, what do you think? Dash. Oh, this is the King's Heights, it's really majestic. Beneath the huge heights that suddenly protruded, Vlad shouted in amazement. Miss Violet, the cadres of the Don Quixotes are here, aren't they? Fred asked. Yes, Lord Vlad, the cadres of the Don Quixote family are here. The former princess of Darrows Rose's body was trembling, and it was natural to feel fear when facing a monster like Vlad. Woo-ha-ha, this is too good to be able to catch it all in one go. Vlad laughed happily, in this way, the cleaning job can be completed soon. Then let's go, Katakuri brother. A huge dark red dragon had appeared under the high ground, and Vlad grabbed Katakuri with one hand and Violet with the other. The flapping of the wings behind him caused a huge gust of wind, and then the body was already soaring into the sky. Hey, what is that? In the blink of an eye, with his extraordinary speed, Vlad had already rushed to the King's Heights, and then of course, his huge body had been discovered by the guards above the heights. The guards were stunned. With Vlad's current popularity, coupled with the dark red dragon man's conspicuous features, these guards of course recognized him in an instant. Fire Dragon. Be quiet, idiots. With a low roar, white flames roared out from Vlad's scales, surging away like white waves, directly burning the guards to ashes. Violet took a deep breath, never expecting Vlad to be so cruel. Crack. With a light snap of his fingers, the whistling flame shrank instantly, turning into a singularity flashing with strong light, and then a terrifying explosion happened. Boom. The entire King's Heights is shaking, and I am afraid that the explosion will be earth-shattering. The palace has already begun to collapse directly, but in just a moment, it is no longer known how many people are buried in it. Of course, Prado does not care about these people, and they are just soldiers of the Don Quixote family. What happened? Vlad didn't wait long, a sharp and small voice came from one side, and a figure rose from the top of the rock. The people of the Don Quixote family are not fools. After such a thing happens again, of course they will come out to check the situation. I don't know, Mr. Pika, the explosion happened, quite suddenly. Wearing a coat and a mask as a man followed closely, he said. What the hell is going on? Is there an enemy invasion? A grinning voice sounded. The fat, disgusting, slimy man walked up to the heights, and behind him, one by one, Don Quixote's cadres came here. Oh, this is you, right? The cadre of the Don Quixote family. Vlad was still a little happy. In this case, everyone is here. Huh. Looking up, the officials of the Don Quixote family saw a huge dragon man flying in the air. No way. This is how panic spread. Chapter 763 Granulated Sugar. No, we must have seen it wrong. Why does such a guy appear here? The name is Toripal, one of the top cadres of the Don Quixote family, the Paramecia mucus fruit ability person, recognized Vlad immediately, and then the expression of fear appeared on his face. Just like him, the other officials of the Don Quixote family also had expressions on their faces. Fear is natural, but not fear is abnormal. After all, the guy who suddenly appeared in front of them is not a simple person. King's Landing like an emperor, one of the 4 emperors who dominated the New World, just defeated Charlotte Linlin, who was also the 4 emperors not long ago, and has been considered by many to be the most powerful contender for One Piece, King of Pirates, which can be obtained from Kaido, the man who took the title of the strongest in his hands. Such a monster is not something they can provoke. Dear Dragon, Lord Vlad. Toripal wiped the sweat from his forehead, licked his lips that were suddenly dry for some reason, with a flattering smile on his face, raised his head and looked up at Vlad, his voice full of piety. Is there something wrong with your visit to Daros Rosa? What Toripal asked about was what all the officials of the Don Quixote family were concerned about. It was no small matter for the 4 emperors to come to this island, especially when the fire dragon came with Don Quixote. Of course, they are very clear about the relationship between the 4 emperors of the family who are not friendly, the subordinates of the fire dragon, Trafalgar Ro, and the Don Quixote family. Definitely not a good relationship. Oh, this. Vlad fell to the ground, putting Katakuri and Violet aside, and replied. Because Luo has already gone to deal with Doflamingo, I believe that the flamingo guy has been cleaned up by Luo now, right? So I judge that the Don Quixote family no longer needs to exist. After all, the parents are gone, and there is a group of little ones left. Hey, it seems that there is no point in living, right? Vlad answered so bluntly. What? Toripal's face changed suddenly. Since Vlad said so, there is no doubt about it. This man has absolutely no good intentions. As the target, the young master. Behind Toripal, the man wearing the mask whispered, his fists already clenched, although the enemy is a guy who he absolutely cannot defeat, but if it is for the young master, then everything is worth it. Understood, the Don Quixote family is finished. Vlad said so. I'm here to accept this Daros Rosa, and of course your research results. These are all my things. That's what it means, all of your fathers want it. Stop being arrogant. The voice of a very sharp man, the person whose name is Pika, has been combined with the rocky earth below him. Just for a moment, a huge rock giant has risen from the height of the king, waving a huge fist, directly towards Fu. Rad smashed over. Ah! Vlad looked a little surprised. A huge shadow had enveloped him. It was really huge. It was just a fist, but the size was already as huge as a hill. If it was really hit, it would actually be Vlad. Vlad, I'm afraid it won't be too good. Ability Pika holds is the rock fruit of Paramecia. It is quite powerful. It can manipulate the rocks in contact with itself at will, and even integrate into it. In theory, as long as the physical strength is sufficient, then manipulating the rocks of the entire world is not a problem. Unreachable things. Pick up. It was only for a moment that Pika shot, and the cadres of the Don Quixote family were completely unable to react. No matter if you are the 4th emperor or what, as long as you are someone who dares to shoot at Dover, I will definitely not let him go. Very funny, although the body is very strong, but the voice is abnormally high-pitched. PFF'd. So Vlad laughed. He's a very honest man, and if he thinks it's funny, then he'll laugh. Although you are a very funny person, yes. Facing the huge stone fist that came from the bombardment, Vlad stretched out his left hand with a smile. But please don't be presumptuous. Boom. A strong impact suddenly occurred, and the stones began to splash around. What? The eyes of the officials of the Don Quixote family almost protruded from their sockets. What did they see? It was obvious that Pika was attacking Vlad, and Vlad was just defending, but Pika's attacking arm exploded in an instant, turning into countless rubble and flying in the air. "You bastard!" Also surprised was Pika himself. Of course he knew how powerful his punch was, but he was easily blocked, and his arm was directly smashed. "If you're a kid, be quiet." Vlad lightly snapped his fingers with a chuckle, and then the surprising thing happened again. The huge stone body of the pickup was directly separated from the King's Heights and flew into the sky. After buying the pickup, the height of the King's Heights was directly hard. Life is less than half. What? Pickup was stunned. In fact, it's not a great trick. When facing Pika's fist, Vlad just used the ability of the impact fruit lodged in his left hand to absorb the impact brought by Pika's arm, and then rebounded instantly, knocking the impact acted on Pika's arm, shattering it, and at the same time, the fluttering fruit ability also acted on it, instantly lifting Pika's stone body into the sky. It's just such a simple trick, but the visual effect looks quite amazing. Well, it doesn't seem like it's any fun with you trashy fish. Vlad stood, raised his left hand high, and then waved it down heavily. Above the sky, the huge stone giant drawn by Sika began to change in an instant, turning into an equally huge stone dragon. Descending from the sky, all the officials of the Don Quixote family were swept away with their claws and claws. In just a short moment, the battle was over again. There were no strong armament hockey users among these guys, and of course they couldn't resist such an attack. There is no peculiar escape-like fruit ability like door fruit, and of course it cannot escape. In this way, the Don Quixote family will be wiped out together. Vlad smiled contentedly. But I was so frightened just now that I almost smashed you together. As Vlad said so, he gently waved his left hand, and the huge stone dragon sitting on the top of the King's Heights suddenly changed. One section slowly separated, and a huge stone hand held a little girl sticking out from inside. "It's called Sugar, right? I've been looking forward to you for a long time." Chapter 764 Princess Mancherry. Quote. Stunned, completely speechless, the former princess of Daros Rosa, the youngest daughter of King Riku, Miss Violet's eyes widened, staring at the scene in front of her. Unable to say a word, tears started to slide slowly in his eyes. "How long has it been? How long has it been since the Don Quixote family passed on you, Daros Rosa?" "It's been 10 years, it's been a full 10 years, right?" Violet thought that he would probably never forget the scene of that day in his life. What happened that day 10 years ago is really in his heart. The country was taken over by a group of villains, the citizens were deceived, instigated, exploited, the respected father and king were stigmatized, the sister was killed, and everything was taken away. He also had to join this group because he wanted to protect his family. It's hard work, really hard work. Covering her mouth with her hand unconsciously, and letting her tears flow freely, Miss Violet has not been able to cry freely like this for a long time. Sometimes crying is an extravagant hope. Although I don't know how the country will go after the fire dragon occupied the country, but seeing the Don Quixote family collapse, a kind of joy from the heart is unstoppable. At this time, the role of language has become pale, and it is enough to just cry. Vlad ignored Miss Violet, who was crying behind her. His attention was completely drawn to the little girl in front of him. Kaka. The upper and lower rows of teeth are constantly colliding, showing the owner's uneasy and fearful heart, and some green-haired little girls look very uneasy. "Yeah, is this scary?" Vlad smiled, a smile full of banter. The girl's name is Sha Tang, a cadre of the Don Quixote family. Although she looks like a little girl, she is actually far older than she looks, because she is a Paramesha childlike fruit person who can touch what she touches. The ability to turn things into toys is really too strong. Vlad believes that such an ability is definitely one of the top abilities in this world. He was quite interested. Go to hell, asshole. The ground suddenly bulged, and the huge rock giant appeared in front of Vlad again, and the rock giant punched towards Vlad. Pika didn't die in the attack just like other family members. He was able to fuse himself into the rock, and of course the rock dragon's attack didn't work for him. Tisk, if you don't die, wouldn't it be better to just stay there? Vlad smiled, the flames rose up behind him, and countless flame spears condensed behind him. Maybe I'll pretend I didn't see you. Whistling, whizzing, whizzing. There is no need for extra manipulation at all, and countless flame guns have already blasted towards the huge rock giant. Boom 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 boom. The endless explosion suddenly occurred, and the clouds above Darrow's Rose's sky were instantly dissipated. The so-called power refers to such a thing. The screams are not prominent in the strong explosion, although they can be integrated into the rock, but if the rock is directly blown up, then there is no way to hide even if it is possible. Woo, he's really dead this time, isn't he? Vlad turned his head. Brother Katakuri. I can't feel the breath anymore. Katakuri nodded, and if Pickup could really escape in front of these two people with the world's top observation hockey, Vlad recognized it. The screams came from Vlad's face. After seeing Vlad easily handle the pickup, Shatang had already seen all his partners being crushed into meat sauce in an instant, and he also walked for a while. The tense nerves were completely shattered, his eyes rolled over, and he fainted. Wow. Vlad looked at the fainted sugar with a funny look. It's interesting now. If he faints, it means that his ability has been released. Ability. Katakuri whispered, is she the one who turns people into toys? It's her. Vlad picked up the sugar, turned his head, and smiled, ah-ha-ha-ha, now that the ability has been released, the whole Darrow's Rosa will be a mess soon. That's really interesting. Katakuri said so. Right. Vlad smiled. I got it, I overdid it. Vlad suddenly remembered something and grabbed Violet's shoulder. Hey, Miss Violet, look for me, hurry up, don't cry and look for me, Dong Tata clan is Princess Mancheri still alive? I suddenly remembered something like this. About Princess Mancheri of the Dantata Kingdom, I almost forgot that this girl's powerful abilities are comparable to that of Sugar. Vlad can't wait to give himself 2 slaps now. Why did he go too far just now? If Princess Mancheri really died in the battle just now, wouldn't it be a big loss? Still immersed in shock, after Sugar's ability was lifted, she immediately recalled that Miss Violet, who had a brother-in-law, nodded stunned, stared at the fruit ability, and began to search in the palace. Damn it, don't die, Princess Mancheri. Vlad muttered to himself. What's the matter? Katakuri wondered. I don't want to miss out on the ability to heal all wounds. Vlad said so. Found it. Violet said this suddenly, and heaved a long sigh of relief. The kingdom of Dantata and Darrow's Rosa were good friends of the times, and Violet of course also cared about the safety of Princess Mancheri. Alive, but seems to faint from the shock just now. Violet said so. Really? Vlad smiled, very satisfied. Let's go then. Go and free our princess from Arlong's captivity. Arlong. Violet was taken aback. Isn't it you? Of course, he didn't dare to say this directly to Vlad. The strength that Vlad showed before further made him understand what the 4 emperors were, and it was definitely not her. It is definitely not a force that this Drossrose can contend with. Touch. He kicked open the door that was deformed and stuck because the pickup pulled the rock. Vlad strode into the room, and saw the little princess with some blonde hair at a glance. Oh, Her Royal Highness, have you woken up yet? Chapter 765 My Stuff. There is something wrong with Darrow's Rosa today. The peaceful life that should have been like in the past has not continued today. From the very center of the country, the king who is worshipped by everyone, His Majesty King Don Quixote da Flamingo on the King's Highland, where it was located, a strong explosion suddenly occurred, so powerful that even at the very edge of the island, a strong earthquake could still be clearly felt, and many of the islands seemed to collapse directly. Then, when the astonished residents raised their heads and looked towards the King's Heights, the huge stone giant had already risen from the King's Heights and smashed towards the ground with a huge fist. Because the size is too huge, everyone can clearly see the movements of this giant, and the ability of Pika is not a secret in Darrow's Rosa, so many people know that since Mr. Pika has changed in this form, there must be an enemy invasion. As loyal supporters of the Don Quixote family, the residents of Darrow's Rosa were of course cheering for Pika the moment they realized this situation. After all, the Don Quixote family is the protector of this island. It is the leader who made the king of this country prosperous and strong. Laughs. However, what happened later completely caught the residents by surprise. The huge stone body of the invincible Lord Pika shattered instantly, turning into a huge stone dragon in the air and blasting directly towards the king's heights. To be honest, at that moment, the entire Darrow's Rosa was quiet, which was indeed a change they did not expect. Then, the huge stone giant appeared again, but it was instantly enveloped in flames that came from nowhere, and instantly turned into debris. Even if it was far away, there were still rubble that splashed from above, like rain. However, this time, the residents of Darrow's Rosa have no time to panic. Even if the Don Quixote family really encounters a strong enemy that cannot be resisted, they have no time to worry about it. The reason is, what's going on? His eyes were wide open. Even the distant movements like the collapse of the king's high ground couldn't attract his attention now. The middle-aged man couldn't close his mouth at all. Toys. The toy has turned into a human. Paramesha childlike fruit ability person has the ability to turn the creatures touched by her palm into toys. What's more powerful is that all the people she has turned into toys will completely disappear from the world, including existence. Memories in the hearts of others, that is, once turned into a toy, it will be erased from the hearts of all. Darrow's Rosa's specialty, the toy with life, is what those who are a threat to the Don Quixote family have become by the ability of sugar, and now, sugar has passed out, binding everyone's ability now, it has been lifted. Interesting mess, as expected. PFF'd. With a light sound, white smoke spread out, and a monkey doll walking on the street had turned into a young man in the white smoke, and he raised his right arm and scratched his own in a dazed way. Above his head, his eyes blinked and he held a banana in his hand. No. Trembling all over, he brought his hand in front of him and wiped his eyes in disbelief. There were indeed tears on his hands, and what was in front of him was indeed his own hand, a palm composed of flesh and bones. Can you cry? Finally. It was completely uncontrollable, tears rushing out from his eyes, constantly rushing, and snot flowing with the tears. It was really embarrassing. It's changed back. The same situation happened everywhere in Darrow's Rosa, and all the toys had all changed back to human appearances the moment sugar passed out. No way. The old grandmother looked very unbelievable, but no tears flowed from her dry eyes. A toy dog that had been following her suddenly turned into a man. Yes, is it Jack? It was a scene that should have been feared, but the sudden memory in her mind made the old grandmother tremblingly ask such words. Quote, exclamation mark. The man who was lying on the ground jumped up and directly protected the thin body of the old grandmother. It's me. Grandma, it's me, I'm Jack. Really, it's Jack. A very apologetic voice. Why, how could I forget you? Really sorry. No, don't mind, Grandma. Jack raised his head and looked at the Wangji Heights in the distance with tears in his eyes. It's not your fault. The same thing is too numerous to enumerate. The toys that have been following me are actually my family members. Of course, such a change is too amazing. However, after the surprise, there is joy. Finally reset. Darrow's Rosa on this day belongs to the country of tears. Of course, it wasn't all tears of joy, and expressions of anger. Cyrus. In a corner of Darrow's Rosa, an old man with white hair was sitting in the corner, pinching the bridge of his nose with his right hand, tears falling from above. You too, Rebecca. In the end. Doflamingo. In the end. How much do you want to play with people? At the same time, in another corner of Darrow's Rosa, a man with only one foot kept jumping in the chaotic crowd. Tears fell on his face. Although he only had 1 foot, it was still more than most people. He came vigorously, easily separated from the crowd that gradually gathered because of anger. Rebecca, Rebecca, Rebecca. Of Riku Scarlet, the former princess of the royal Dressrosa family. Rebecca. The loud voice spread out, and in the distance, the pink-haired girl turned around and bit her lip. Soldiers first. Dad. Shouting hoarsely, this is a reunion after a long absence. Boom. It was at this time that a huge explosion suddenly occurred above the sky, and the storm that swept across the sky instantly erupted. The entire Dressrosa was as embarrassed as the storm was passing through. Everyone felt that it was very difficult to stand up. Almost at the same time, everyone's eyes were drawn to the past. Ahem, can you hear me? Dressrosa folks. Above the sky, the voice of the huge dragon man spread mightily. I now declare that here, Dressrosa, including all of you, is already mine. Chapter 766 Little People. That is. Cyrus, who was holding his daughter, raised his head and looked at the huge dark red dragon man floating in the sky. His pupils shrank suddenly, and he had already recognized Vlad's identity. Although it has been turned into a toy for 10 years, it does not mean that he is an ignorant person. In fact, in order to overthrow Doflamingo's rule, it is a matter of course to conduct intelligence collection work. Of course, Cyrus knew about Vlad. After all, the Fire Dragon pirates have made such a big move recently. Cyrus is neither blind nor deaf, so of course he knows Vlad's intelligence. Fire Dragon Vlad. Cyrus whispered, why is this guy here? Could it be said? The vibrations that occurred on the King's Heights, the turbulent flames, and the sudden release of the sugar ability, I changed back to the appearance of a human, and finally combined with the appearance of the Fire Dragon. Then there is no doubt, it is really simple. Reasoning, everything is done by the Fire Dragon, the Fire Dragon pirates, and the Don Quixote family is shot. Thinking of this, Cyrus' eyes flashed with excitement. He knew that the Don Quixote family had absolutely no power to resist the Fire Dragon pirates. Since the Fire Dragon had decided to do so, it also meant that, the Don Quixote family is over. Dad. Rebecca, who buried her head in her father's arms, raised her head with a puzzled look. What's wrong? It's nothing, Rebecca. Touching the top of his daughter's head, Cyrus said, the rule of the Don Quixote family is over. Rebecca is a little silly. Although I don't know what the future will be like. Cough, can you hear me? In the sky, Vlad's speech continued. Although the voice became quite loud after turning into a fire dragon, it was still a little annoying to yell at the loudspeaker of the whole server. Everyone of Dressrosa, my name is Ferdinand Vlad, the captain of the Fire Dragon Pirates, also known as the Great Pirate of the Four Emperors. Well, I am here now, and I have something to announce to you. Yes. Vlad said. That is, this island, this Dressrosa, has now been occupied by me. I have killed all the beloved Don Quixote family. The head of the family, Don Quixote Doflamingo, has also been dealt with. Therefore, according to the rules of the pirate world, everyone, including this island, is already the trophy of our Fire Dragon pirates. Well, that's all. I'm here to inform you, and my subordinates will come to receive them soon. This island, please sue each other, and don't conflict with us at that time. Although we are not some vicious pirates, we will not be accustomed to those who block our actions. Well, that's it. If you don't want to die, you should be honest. After finishing the speech in a few words, Vlad didn't care about the reactions of the following Dressrosa residents. As he said, he was just announcing, not discussing with them. You really have your style. It landed gently on the ground, Katakuri told Vlad. Well, maybe they'll cheer or maybe not. Vlad said so. If in this chaotic new world can get the protection of one of the four emperors, then it may not be a bad thing for these civilians. These civilians of Dressrosa would really be happy but not necessarily. That. On the other side, carefully squatting on the shoulders of Miss Violet, Princess Mancherry, the princess of the Dantata clan, said with some fear, Mr. Vlad, you can really send me back to the kingdom of Dantata. Princess Mancheri had nothing to be afraid of Vlad, and the time went back to a room in the palace a little while ago. When Vlad kicked the door open, Her Royal Highness, the little princess of the little human race, had already woken up. She blinked her big watery eyes and looked at Vlad, who broke into the door. Come here, what happened? Oh, are you Princess Mancheri? Vlad smiled, looking very happy. It's great that this girl is still alive. It would be a pity if her ability died like this. Do you know me? Princess Mancheri looked a little surprised, but she didn't feel scared. The Dantata people are a very strange race, not only petite in size, but also different in spirit, extremely pure in mind, it is easy to believe others, and there is no concept of evil, so of course, there is no fear of Vlad. Of course. Vlad smiled, stepped forward, picked up Princess Mancheri, and put it on his shoulders. I've been known to you for a long time, Her Royal Highness. Well known or something? The little princess looked embarrassed and held her face. Okay, since the princess has been found, so. Vlad smiled, just come with me. Well. Princess Mancheri looked a little embarrassed. This can't be done, because I have already promised the people of the Don Quixote family to help them. Don't worry about this problem anymore. Vlad smiled, the people of the Don Quixote family have all left here today and will never come back. They have entrusted this country to me, so they can leave now. Is that so? Princess Mancheri was very surprised, but she didn't mean to doubt at all. She had completely believed Vlad's words. The characteristics of the little human race were vividly and exquisitely reflected here. That's it. Vlad turned his head. If you don't believe me, you can ask this Miss Violet. She is also a member of the Don Quixote family, right? Well, it's exactly as Lord Vlad said. Violet had to nod. Excellent. Princess Mancheri looked very happy. This way I can go back to Dantata. No problem. Vlad nodded. I can send you back to the kingdom of Dantata right away. Of course, there is no problem in sending Princess Mancheri back to the villain, because it is possible to take the opportunity to bring the villain under his command. Vlad is not a person who likes to waste resources. After Vlad promised to send her back to the kingdom of Dantata soon, Princess Mancheri went with Vlad. Of course, Vlad was not a person who did not keep his promise. After the horn, Vlad flew directly to Greenbit, the gathering place of the kingdom of Tata. Oh! It didn't take long to walk in the dense jungle, and dark shadows flashed from the jungle. Chapter 767 Straw Hat Decision. How wonderful, Her Royal Highness. The villain with 2 needles on his waist as a sword burst into tears, and he was very happy to circle around the princess in the middle. Devil Fruit ability, the ability to sew up anything. It's great that Her Royal Highness is back. It's great that the princess is not sick. Leo was very happy about the return of His Royal Highness the princess. In order to deceive the little humans by lying that Princess Mancheri had a strange disease, the Don Quixote family deceived the little humans to help them plant artificial devil fruits. Obviously very gentle, but only in front of Leo, Her Royal Highness Princess Mancheri became a little different. Leo is too much, he hasn't come to me for so long. The princess is making trouble again. Leo puffed up his cheeks and said dissatisfiedly, it was the princess who didn't let me go at that time. It's all because Leo made me angry. Princess Mancheri said loudly, I have said that I will not come back for a long time, and Leo won't stop me. It's all Leo's fault. Ah, what a wayward princess. Leo turned his head, put his hands around his chest, and gasped from his nose, looking very unbeautiful. Leo. Also very upset was Her Royal Highness. Xiaobu ran to Leo's side, jumped directly behind Leo, and 2 small fists kept hitting Leo's head. Ah, the new princess. Leo looked a little crazy. Princess Mancheri's love story may still have a long way to go. On the other side, Vlad is telling a story to a group of villains about a man named Mont Blanc Rolando and the great warrior Calgara, and of course what happened to him on Sky Island a few years ago. Woo! How handsome! Mont Blanc Rolando. Really handsome, great warrior Calgara. A 400-year promise. Woohoo, what a romantic story. Although I don't know what kind of relationship these guys have with the Mont Blanc family, there is no doubt that the man Mont Blanc Rolando is indeed the benefactor of the Dantata family. So far, within the Dantata family, Lando has the word is still synonymous with hero. The little people around were crying, and the story Vlad told was something they didn't know. What he did was indeed a messed up story that could move these simple little humans. Of course, Vlad is not bored, so he tells stories with these little people. Although he has been very bored recently, he is not boring enough to chat with these guys. In fact, he rescued the princess, and then in this wave of stories after that, his reputation in the Dantata kingdom has almost reached the level of worship, which can be seen from the eyes of these little people looking at him. However, Florlando, certain villain asked, are the Don Quixotes really bad people? Of course. Vlad nodded, look at this Miss Violet, she is the daughter of King Riku, she has the most say. Right. Ah yes. Violet nodded and began to tell about what the Don Quixote family had done in this country. Ah, if you say that, is Florlando the savior of Daros Rosa? Leo, who was listening to the story, didn't care about the princess hanging on his head, and exclaimed, wow. It's amazing. You, welcome. Vlad waved his hand, I just made a small contribution. Well. Vlad raised his eyebrows and turned his head, you actually found this. It was when Vlad madly brushed the favorability of the villains and met a new character. The time went back a little bit earlier, the location was Punk Hazard, the huge ship sailed away into the wind, and the battle that took place in Daros Rosa has already been completed. Completely ended, the three of the Fire Dragon pirates have separated from the Straw Hat pirates and started their return journey. At the bow of the boat, Luo faced the sea breeze with a smile on his face. This time, the goal has been completely achieved. Doflamingo has been defeated, and now he is lying on the bottom of the boat. My life is still in a coma, and he is still wearing heavy seastone shackles. Don't talk about doing things, don't even think about moving. Going to Daros Rosa now? Behind Luo, Drake asked. Yeah. Luo nodded, the captain has now arrived in Daros Rosa, let's go straight to meet him. He's probably getting impatient waiting. That's good. Drake nodded, he did not have the decision-making power. According to Vlad's order, he only had to follow Luo's command. However, I didn't expect. Drake said with emotion, that Straw Hat gang is really not easy. Who would have thought that the fuse that triggered the war on the top would have such strength? That group of people. Luo smiled, it is indeed a great group of pirates, maybe they will really be an obstacle to the captain's access to the throne. Do you think so? Drake was a little surprised. Although he also believed that the Straw Hats were not weak, they did not overestimate the fact that they could prevent the Fire Dragon from ascending to the throne. Perhaps. Luo Siwei returned to before, when he parted with the Straw Hats, anyway, we will meet again soon. Quote. Kaido, is this Doflamingo from Kaido? The beautiful navigator looked surprised, no way. Didn't you just beat Bigmom? Did you decide to attack Kaido so soon? So I have to take him. Luo said, this is related to our follow-up plans. It's really daring enough. The green-haired swordsman had an interesting smile on the corner of his mouth, does this plan directly tell us that there is no problem? It doesn't matter. Luo casually said, you can't stop it, the captain will definitely become One Piece King of Pirates. I am so proud. Slowly blowing out a smoke ring, the curly-brow chef said so. He, Wano-kuni. With his hand on the straw hat above his head, the Straw Hat Luffy smiled, the Fire Dragon pirates and the Beast pirates are fighting. It's really lively. The long-nosed Usopp immediately understood what his captain meant, Luffy, you won't. It's decided. Straw Hat said so loudly, let's go to Wano-kuni too. The Straw Hat Pirates decided to head towards Wano-kuni. Chapter 768 Target Wano-kuni. Wow, I didn't expect to escape. The huge warship floated quietly on the periphery of the island. In front of it, the flaming mountain-like island was still emitting intense heat. At the bow of the ship, a sloppy marine soldier sighed. I thought it was dead. Now. Shut up, stupid. In the back, the man with 2 cigars in his mouth was very angry. Is there anything to be proud of? It escaped like a lost dog. Where is the face of justice? Esmogo, don't be too strict. Soldier Marine was a little stunned, but immediately had a smile on his face. Everyone was frightened just now. That guy Virgo is already scary enough. Without another cadre of the Fire Dragon pirates appearing later, everyone thought that it's dead. It's hard to survive, so please make us happy. Quote. Smoker wanted these bastards to get a good feel for how warm the sea was, and let the scorching seawater wash all the dirty water out of these bastards' brains. However, Smoker's eyes were a little confused, and his memory had returned to when he was on Punk Hazard, and when he was about to be killed by Trafalgar Law of the Fire Dragon pirates, he was suddenly rescued by an old acquaintance. Kuzan, what the hell are you thinking? Have you really fallen to the side of the Fire Dragon? Damn it, it's enough. Why is it like this? Is the country of the Fire Dragon really that good? It's really possible. Has your justice been shaken? Kuzan. Wano-kuni. The Fire Dragon seems to have decided to attack Kaido, so the battlefield is in Wano-kuni, right? You go back to Kuzan. The guys above are already starting to move around, right? Just wait. Next time definitely will ask clearly. Quote. Not just straw hats. The eyes of the world are already on the place called Wano-kuni. On the other side, Greenbit. Thank you so much. 3 people knelt in front of Vlad, an old man with gray hair, a middle-aged man with only 1 leg, and a beautiful girl with pink hair. All together, of course. In fact, these 3 people are indeed 3 generations, grandfather, father, daughter. 3 generations indeed. Thank you so much. The man who has been regarded as a tyrant, spurned, despised by everyone in this country for 10 years after Don Quixote da Flamingo usurped the dominion of the country, this country, Germany. The former king of Ras Rosa, the old man known as King Riku, was lying in front of Vlad, tears falling from his face, wetting the ground in front of him. Your Excellency Vlad, thank you so much. The former king of this country, King Riku said so loudly, thank you. Thank you for saving this country. Thank you. Thank you. Cyrus and Rebecca, who were lying on the back, immediately shouted in unison. Amount. Vlad looked a little surprised. The 3 people ran out suddenly, and then knelt in front of him without saying a word, crying and apologizing. If Vlad didn't hear what they said, he thought it was the filial son and grandson. Sweeping his grave was really infiltrative. Get up. Vlad said casually, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to save anyone, just because the Don Quixote family is blocking my way, and they also have what I want here, so I'm here. Will come, that's all. Don't dare say anything. King Riku raised his head and said solemnly, Mr. Vlad, it is an unquestionable fact that you have liberated this country. The citizens who were originally deceived by Doflamingo's conspiracy and played by him have been liberated. They can finally live by their own will in this country. For such a thing, I have to thank you no matter what. Quote. As you please. Vlad smiled and didn't care too much. After all, he couldn't refuse if others had to express their gratitude, right? However, King Riku. Vlad said, you have to understand one thing. This country, this Daros Rosa is already my thing, and my country doesn't need the existence of a king. So you understand. Quote. King Vivi was a little silent. This is a matter of course. He knew very well that Vlad was not a hero, not because he knew that the people of this country were suffering, so he came over to liberate these people, the so-called sea. A thief is such a profit-driven creature, but he does not have the idea of taking the country back from Vlad's hands. He thinks that he is not a qualified king, and he is simply expressing his gratitude. Of course. King Riku nodded. I've also heard about the Fire Dragon Kingdom. I think Daros Rosa will become a better country with your help from Lord Vlad. Also. Vlad was really a little surprised. You old man is unexpectedly powerful. Because, I think. King Riku said, the so-called king is not born to rule the people, but to make the life of this country happier. If the so-called king becomes an obstacle on the road to happiness, then there may be no this country would be a better place if it existed. Quote. Very good. Vlad smiled, I like you very much. You are amazing. It's really hard to explain people's desires clearly, but in a certain class, you will subconsciously safeguard the interests of this class, and if you are in a certain class, you can jump out of this class and come to a more universal view, really not an easy thing to do. Of course, King Riku's actions were due to the fact that he himself knew that he was unable to take back the country from Vlad's hands, but Vlad could also hear his true feelings. It was indeed a great move. Vlad could only do this. It is said that this romantic sea has given birth to countless romantic men. Oh, King Riku. The little people of the little people laughed and gathered around King Riku, looking very happy. The two countries are neighbors that have been good friends in the times, and the relationship is very friendly. Oh haha, what a long time no see. A smile appeared on King Riku's face. The smile that came from no one knew where it came from. Maybe it was the safety of the family, the safety of the country, or the reunion of old friends. No one knew where it came from. Blue 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 blue. It was at this time that the voice of the phone bug rang from Vlad's pocket, and it looked very intense. Oh. Vlad took the phone bug out of his pocket and smiled, it's already here. Chapter 769 Lord I am. Da 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 da. There were some low footsteps from the bottom of the dark cabin, some messy, not just the footsteps of one person. Scoff. A flame suddenly appeared, and the white flame emitted a strong light, instantly brightening the dark bottom of the cabin. What? He subconsciously stood in front of his eyes, and the sudden strong light made his eyes feel a little uncomfortable, and after a short period of adaptation, he finally saw the guy walking over. Ka 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 ka. Quote. The upper and lower teeth kept fighting, and the man named Caesar shivered and said, Fire Dragon, Fire Dragon. Caesar. Vlad glanced at him and didn't care. Now is not the time to chat with him. There are more important things waiting for him to do. Of course, Vlad doesn't care about Caesar. It doesn't mean that Caesar doesn't care about Vlad. The body shrank back subconsciously, but couldn't move because of the sea stone chain on his body. Oh, I haven't woken up yet. Walking outside a certain cell, Vlad saw the unconscious guy inside and smiled. This is not good. Men can't be weak, can they? Do me a favor, Princess Mancheri. Vlad turned his head, looked at the Lilliputian princess standing on his left shoulder, and begged, help me treat his injury, and he doesn't need to be cured, just let him recover to the point where he can wake up and speak. That's enough. Well, okay. Her Royal Highness the little princess had a bright smile on her face, okay. Flalindo. Can't keep you in such a coma, Flamingo. Vlad smiled, wake up quickly. Tell me everything you know about Tenryubito. Dash 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 dash. Slowly opened his eyes. The strong surrounding light really made a person who had just woken up from a coma feel at a loss, because the glasses had been taken off his face. Vivi squinted his eyes, and could vaguely detect the strong light. There were several figures standing in front of him. The memory began to become clearer gradually. Did you lose the battle? It's a very funny thing. I actually gave a few little ghosts for nothing, but it's really funny enough. All the inside has been lost, right? I was killed by a few pirate goblins, and I still want to laugh when I think about it now. Yang. So he laughed. Although there was still a strong pain in his chest, he just laughed. When he wanted to laugh, he laughed. This is everyone's instinct. He just follows his own instinct. Ooh, that's amazing. Then I heard such a very surprised voice, it's amazing. Her Royal Highness Princess Mancheri, this was originally. The guy who has stepped into the gate of hell was actually rescued by you like this. Quite awesome. Where? The voice of a very shy girl. Doflamingo is still familiar with this voice. If I heard correctly, this is the voice of Princess Mancheri from the Dantata royal family, right? The voice of the little human princess who was supposed to be imprisoned in the deepest part of the Daros Rosa Palace. That is to say. Breakthrough. The laughter grew louder. Tisk, we meet again. Such a condescending voice came over, clown. This time, it's an unprecedented embarrassment. Yee 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 yee. Doflamingo, who had adapted to the light, widened his eyes and saw the man standing in front of him clearly, Fire Dragon. It's been a long time since I haven't seen him. He looks so good. Oh, thanks for your concern. Vlad said casually, it's you, it's miserable. Isn't it all thanks to you? Brother Doflamingo smiled, but he didn't feel uncomfortable at all because he had been reduced to a prisoner. He had the most unscrupulous and unruly smile on his face. Although Vlad really didn't like him, but it cannot be denied that this guy is definitely a rare hero in the sea. But it made me miserable enough. Doflamingo said, since the villain princess is in your hands, that means Daros Rosa is in your hands, right? Of course. Vlad nodded as a matter of course. There was no need to deceive. This Daros Rosa is already my territory, and everyone in the Don Quixote family except Sugar and Miss Violet have all been taken by me. Done. Is that so? Did you come straight to Daros Rosa because you thought Luo could completely settle me? Even when Doflamingo heard that all his family members were killed by Vlad, he was not too angry. His smile was even a little joking. You've done a great job. Fire Dragon, that's a good thing. You guy, maybe you can really become One Piece, King of Pirates. But if that's the case, don't I have nothing? Ah, it's a really unpleasant feeling. Oh Tilda, I thought you'd be a little more angry. Vlad looked a little surprised. Although Doflamingo is essentially a cold-blooded hero, Vlad thought that maybe he would still have some warmth towards his family. Am I thinking too much? Angry. Doflamingo twitched his lips and said with disdain, do you want me to scream like a little devil, saying something that I will definitely avenge my partner, and then die with anger? Hey, spare me. Haven't I run out of any chance? Well, at the end, it made my impression of you a lot better. Vlad smiled, of course it's okay to be angry if you can be angry, but when anger is meaningless, it's naturally unnecessary, right? Should I be happy? Doflamingo smiled. Must. Vlad's mouth twitched, this is the king's approval. Quote. Yang. Doflamingo was stunned for a moment, then immediately started laughing like a fool. It's interesting. King, it's not bad. Then. Respected king. Doflamingo said, is there a question I need to answer? Doflamingo knew all too well that there was only one reason for the dragon to keep him, and that was because he needed to learn Tenryubito's secret through himself. Then tell me. Vlad said bluntly, what on earth is Tenryubito hiding? Tell me everything you know. Oh. Doflamingo's mouth twitched, what if I say no? Reject. Vlad smiled and said, don't be stupid, didn't you say it? The people I killed were all except Miss Violet. Do you understand what you said? Oh Violet. Doflamingo exclaimed in surprise, then it seems that I can't hide it from you. Miss Violet's staring fruit can not only be used as a telescope radar, but also mind reading. Then I'll tell you. Doflamingo said with a low smile, anyway, you are also holding the idea of pulling these pigs to the gods. Well, really, where to start? Or start with that man. The one hidden in history. Master I am. Chapter 770 Secret. It was supposed to be the dark bottom of the cabin, but now it is brightly lit. A conversation is going on. It is about the secret of a group of people called gods. The degree of top secret information has reached the level of top secret information. Just knowing this information will be regarded as the government. Absolutely not allow the existence of heresy to be eradicated. Of course, the two people who are chatting now are not afraid of things, and of course they are disdainful of the government's deterrence, so I am very fortunate that this conversation can still go on. Lord I am. Vlad grinned, breaking news from the beginning. Vlad doesn't know who this so-called Lord Yim is. He has never heard of this name before, and he has never seen this character appear in the comics in his previous life. Maybe it's like there are many comics. Like the kind of character, the big boss setting that hides behind the scenes to do things. After all, it's certainly not a simple character that can come out of Doflamingo's mouth, right? On Tenryubito's side, he must be an amazing guy, and Vlad naturally knew such a thing. So, Joker, what kind of person is that Lord I am? Yang. Doflamingo smiled. Lord I am. That guy is quite an amazing guy. The real guy who stands at the top of all Tenryubito. Even the Gorosei, 5 elders are only his subordinates and are regarded as the only ones. The king's fellow. Oh. Vlad narrowed his eyes. The only king. Hey, that's right, not just the king of Tenryubito, he is. Doflamingo's smile is very wanton. Is it a mockery? Joke. The world's only king. That's it. Vlad also laughed. The king of the world. Sounds much better than One Piece, king of pirates. Ooh ha 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 ha, the government is really interesting. Of course, no one knows about this world king at all. Doflamingo said, even inside Tenryubito, only the guys at the top of the sequence are qualified to know the existence of this lord, who is hidden in the back of the world. Oh that's how it is. Vlad smiled. That's really interesting. So he's the guy behind the world who manipulates the development of the world. Hey, he's so handsome. He was originally an unknown person, but he actually has the unique authority in the world. Can easily shake the direction of the world. Haha, isn't this a great feeling? I bet. This guy must have regarded himself as a god who controls everything, right? Hey, isn't Tenryubito the god of this world? Doflamingo grinned. Then Im's words must be considered a god king, right? God king. It's not bad either. Vlad pondered for a moment, nodded and said, then what? Clown, give me a detailed introduction to this Lord God King. Although I also want to know the follow-up story, but unfortunately. Doflamingo sneered, that's all I know. Vlad raised an eyebrow, no way. Clown, it's not a good thing to break something. Hey, you look down on me too much. Doflamingo laughed, I've never been a Gorosei, 5 elders. Tisk. Well, it's really useless. Vlad looked very upset, I don't know such a thing, what's the use of me wanting you? It's quick to turn around. Doflamingo didn't take it seriously, he knew very well that when Vlad's questioning was over, it would be his own death. It would be meaningless to think about it anymore, but about Im's words, there is still such a rumor circulating within Tenryubito. Oh. Vlad's eyes lit up, I warn you, don't break the chapter, if you have anything to say, just tell me a chapter honestly. It's so impatient. Doflamingo doesn't have any hidden meaning, there is a legend that has been circulated in Mariajoy a long time ago. Such a legend is said to have existed a long time ago, or when there was no Tenryubito ethnic group, in us, that is, the world. Behind the nobles, there has always been a mysterious shadow, who will appear at the right time to light up the lights that illuminate the world of going. Quote. Oh. Vlad looked very interested, that would be so interesting. Light up the lights. Really, I think it's very interesting too. Doflamingo smiled wantonly, if there are people who have lights on, are there people who have lights out? It's really something to look forward to. Is that all you know? About a mom? Vlad didn't mean to discuss this with Doflamingo, if so, then talk about other things. Are you in such a hurry to let me die? Doflamingo smiled, hey, that's cold-blooded. Fire dragon. Stop talking nonsense. Vlad replied, I'm not here to visit. Okay. Doflamingo said, since you don't want to say more, I have no choice, I can only choose to give in. Then, Fire Dragon, let me give you a suggestion. Doflamingo smiled, if you really want to pull Tenryubito down from the position of a god, then I happen to have some very interesting stories to tell you about the secrets of the birth of gods. Of course, in order to do this, also it needs the necessary force, after all, that thing is quite scary. Can you fight it? That Tenryubito's national treasure. Hey, is it? Vlad smiled, they've been looking forward to it for a long time. This is the real game. Dash 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 dash. Woo ha 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 ha, it's so funny. At the bottom of the cabin, Vlad was laughing, obviously in a very happy mood. Clown, you didn't lie to me, did you? You didn't make up these things to bluff me, right? A short period of time, Doflamingo told Vlad a lot of things. About Tenryubito, although Vlad was excited, Vlad still cared about the authenticity of it. Who knows? Doflamingo's mouth twitched, revealing a wanton smile. Would you choose to believe it's your own business? Well, this time. Vlad turned his head. Miss Violet. It's time for you to help me. Just now, did the clown lie? If you are in doubt, why not find a liar? In addition to the light, a woman came out of the darkness, a beautiful woman with a complicated look in her eyes. Of course, 90% of this complexity is made up of anger and hatred. The target is of course Doflamingo. Easily attainable. Chapter 771 Moving in Caesar. The huge island is flying in the air, and the island named Daros Rosa is already in Vlad's bag, so of course, we can't put this island at the entrance to the New World, and of course we have to bring it back. Go to his own territory. Vlad thought so, and of course he did. The ability of Fluttering Fruit was activated again. Not only Daros Rosa, but Greenbit was also packed and taken away by him. Smile Production Factory on Daros Rosa. Vlad is still very interested in the artificial devil fruit, so this is something he absolutely does not want to miss, and then there is Greenbit where the little people are located. These little people are also quite similar. It is useful, although it is small, its speed is far faster than that of a human being, and its strength is several times that of a normal adult man, which is completely disproportionate to the petite body. Even soldiers used to charge on the battlefield are sufficient. But of course, Vlad's purpose of taking them away is definitely not for the source of troops. To be honest, the Fire Dragon pirates have no shortage of troops, and the production of dragon teeth has never stopped. In terms of individual strength, it is far above the average villain. In terms of elite combat power, Chimera is also completely sufficient. Germany no longer needs to worry about military strength. One of the things he values most about the villains is that these guys are natural masters of plant cultivation. There are no plants that they will not take care of. The reason why the Don Quixote family kidnapped Princess Mancheri is partly because of Princess Mancheri's healing fruit. But the main reason is that these little people can help them cultivate smile fruits. Vlad believes that the most suitable position for these guys is professional farmers, and it seems that artificial devil fruits also need them. Coupled with the role of Princess Mancheri, so, of course, Vlad packed Greenbit and took away. The villain side is really easy to explain, because Daros Rosa is already his territory, and he was going to move Daros Rosa away. If the little people didn't want to go together, they would be left alone. Dantata Kingdom and Drosrosa Kingdom are good friends for generations. Of course, they are reluctant to leave their close friends. In addition, Vlad's reputation in the villain has been promoted by King Riku and others, and has reached the level of worship. So it was easy to take away the entire little human race. This trip can be said to be quite rewarding. Dash 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 dash. Caesar, isn't it? Daros Rosa, who was flying in the air, on the high ground of the king. Vlad looked at the man who was crouching and slumped on the ground and said, I think you are very clear about your situation now. Ah! Caesar shivered. He was not considered a very courageous person, and the ferocity of the fire dragon pirates was beyond his imagination. It was natural to feel fear from the inside out. After all, his biggest patron, Don Quixote Doflamingo of Shichibukai, Vlad sent a few random men over to deal with him without even turning over a wave, and then, after interrogating all the information, after confirming the authenticity, in front of Caesar, Doflamingo was directly killed by Luo, his chest was directly pierced, and blood flowed all over the place. Then, in line with the principle of waste utilization, Vlad also took out the thread fruit ability in Doflamingo's body, scaring Caesar who was watching on the side to death. Thinking about it carefully, his own gas fruit is also a good devil fruit, right? After all, it is the most cherished Logia, if I am also attracted by the fire dragon. After that, Monet, who was brought back by Luo, followed his young master to the Yellow Spring. Similarly, the ability of Snow Fruit was also drawn out by Vlad. Although he was a subordinate of Frozen Fruit, it was a good thing. Also a Logia devil fruit. Vlad hates waste. Then Caesar was really stunned. This group of people was really too cruel. They had the ability to kill people and grab fruit if they didn't agree. Doflamingo was really not good enough compared to them. So when he saw Vlad again, this man had no courage to speak, and there was only one hope in his heart, that is, don't look at his gas fruit. Of course, it turned out that his worry was purely overthinking. Vlad didn't take his gas fruit very seriously. Compared with a Logia fruit, which was not considered strong, it was obvious that the scientist Caesar was more significant. Hey, friend, I'm asking you. Vlad looked impatient and said, didn't you hear? Oh, yes, I am Caesar. Caesar burst into tears. Work for me starting today. Vlad said, no problem. Caesar was stunned for a moment. This meant that he didn't see his fruit ability, so he could survive, right? Well. Vlad frowned, aren't you willing? Then forget it, I think your fruit ability is also very interesting. No. His mouth was spouting words like a machine gun. Caesar's eyes almost flew out of his sockets, but his eyes didn't fly out. Tears flew everywhere, even with Seastone's shackles, his arms could still be swung quickly, and even there was a breeze. I would very much. The head nodded so fast that Vlad was a little worried that he would dislocate his head. Well, you startle me. Vlad nodded, I thought you didn't want to be buried with Doflamingo. Who would do such a stupid thing? Caesar muttered. It would be great if you wanted to. Vlad said, then you should do what you were doing, artificial devil fruit. I'm also very interested. I'll leave it to you, okay? Yes, of course. Caesar's mood gradually rose, knowing that his life was temporarily saved, and Vlad should not kill him. Very good. Vlad nodded, then I'll trouble you. Oh, really? Dr. Vegapunk dislikes this kind of work that is too repetitive and meaningless, so he doesn't want to do it. It would be much better if you took over. What? Caesar's teeth are going to be together in an instant. The guy named Caesar hated the most in his life is his former colleague. No, now he is also a colleague. That guy named Vegapunk. The biggest wish in this life is to defeat Vegapunk in science, but now Vlad actually asked him to do the job that Vegapunk hated. Well, do you have any complaints? Vlad asked softly. No. Caesar's face was full of smiles, I would love to. Very good. Vlad nodded, in that case, then. Kaido, right? Chapter 772 Gauntlet. Of course, what the Fire Dragon Pirates did in Daros Rosa can't be covered. The world is staring at the Fire Dragon Pirates, and there are as many people staring at Vlad. As far as the current situation is concerned, they have already defeated 1-4. The Emperor's Vlad is the existence that has the best chance to reach the top and become the new king. Of course, his every move attracts attention. This time Vlad did such a thing in Daros Rosa, of course, from the beginning. From the beginning, I never expected to be able to hide from the hyenas that keep their eyes open at all times. So, of course, this matter quickly spread on the sea. After all, Shichibukai can't be regarded as a small person in this sea. Even more so with Don Quixote Doflamingo, the guy's power is second to none in the entire New World. In terms of sphere of influence, perhaps even the four emperors are not as good as him. After all, the four emperors will not do business everywhere. So when such a powerful character was killed, it was a matter of course that there would be a huge wave in this sea. After all, it had only been a few days since Charlotte Linlin died after the defeat of the Big Mom pirates. People have not recovered from the previous shock, and then there is such a big news, it is natural to be surprised. In this incident, the most surprising thing is the terrifying power displayed by the Fire Dragon pirates. You must know that although he is also a cadre of the Fire Dragon pirates, Luo's reputation is of course not as famous as Chef Enel. The guy came loudly, and there is no outstanding person in the Fire Dragon pirates, but it is such a person, who can take a few people to solve a Shichibukai lightly. This is really surprising. A cadre has such strength. How strong is the Fire Dragon pirates? It is really unimaginable, and not a few people think that way. They think that Fire Dragon will become One Piece, king of pirates sooner or later. Such voices have gradually increased in the sea, and the consequence is that since time, the number of pirates who want to join the Fire Dragon's flag has begun to surge, and there should not be too many guys who want to hug the king's thigh. The strength of the Fire Dragon pirates has begun to skyrocket again. Of course, in addition to Trafalgar Luo of the Fire Dragon pirates, Drake and Hawkins of the pirates, the activity of another group of pirates is still impressive. 2 years ago, the Straw Hat Pirates were quite eye-catching in the war on the top. The regiment has actually set sail again, and also participated in the battle against Doflamingo this time. It has done a lot to defeat the veteran Shichibukai. Obviously, in this turbulent sea, another group of strength is not weak. The guys started to run wild. Straw Hat Luffy also began to truly enter the field of vision of the world's top guys for the first time, and the image of the brat who stood on top of the war in the war began to fade away. Of course, in this Daros Rosa incident, people are most concerned about another thing. Doflamingo has a connection with Kaido of the Beasts, one of the four emperors. This is not a secret in the New World. Many people know about it. So, now, the fact that the Fire Dragon pirates attacked Doflamingo is worth it. After scrutiny, does this represent a certain attitude of the Fire Dragon, the attitude of Kaido of the Beasts? Knowing that Doflamingo is Kaido's partner, the Fire Dragon still has no scruples, and it is straightforward and kills Doflamingo as soon as it strikes. This kind of thing really shocked many people's glasses, although not everyone knows about Doflamingo. It was such a secret thing as the supplier who provided Kaido with artificial devil fruits. Vlad's behavior was essentially cutting off Kaido's biggest strength growth channel, and the capable army could no longer expand. Not everyone knows such a thing, but everyone knows that Kaido is not a good-natured person. The first thing you should understand is that the four emperors are not to be provoked, even the best-tempered four. One of the emperor's red hair, anyone who provokes his partner, no matter who it is, the red hair will give him a devastating blow. You must know that the world of pirates is not something that the virgin can get in. Kaido is the same. This man's temper is even more irritable, even if it is the Fire Dragon who is also the fourth emperor. As long as the person who moves him, then the only thing that can wait is the revenge like thunder. Thinking of this as not one person, everyone realizes that, perhaps, the New World will soon usher in a new round of violent storms. The Fire Dragon pirates did not act recklessly. They were serious. Within a few days after defeating Big Mom, the Fire Dragon pirates had already targeted the Beast pirates. The Emperor pattern has been stable for more than 10 years, but, perhaps, this pattern that has been stable for more than 10 years is about to collapse. The truly earth-shattering times are coming. Everyone is waiting for the follow-up development. Then, the follow-up came, and it didn't make people wait long. A newspaper already brought the follow-up development of the story. The location is an island in the New World. This island has been torn apart, and the raging flames spread around the island, a doomsday scene. Ah, damn Fire Dragon kid. The huge monster roamed in the flames, smashing the guy in his hand to smash, and blood splashed everywhere, as that guy the clown finished. It's all because of your weakness, Joker. But in that case, this beast raised his head, and tears actually started to flow from his eyes, spreading like a small river. Isn't it impossible to finish? Didn't you promise to build a unique army of able-bodied people in the world? That's it. If you die, Joker, you bastard, can't you do it? Asshole. With a sudden roar, he hit heavily on the ground, and the island that had been torn apart shook violently again, and a huge pothole was formed in an instant. You bastard. Wait. Fire Dragon Kid. I'll tear you apart right now. Boss. Boss. The man's thick voice came from one side, and the buildings in the distance were shattered and pulled into a cloud of smoke. The tall man quickly appeared in front of Kaido. Big news. Gold. Kaido turned his head. What's wrong? Ha 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 ha, that bastard of the fire dragon. Pirates, the leader of the three disasters, the man named Jin handed Kaido a newspaper. It's really courageous. Hey. Newspaper. Kaido's eyes suddenly widened. Ha 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 ha, you are really brave. Fire Dragon Kid. War book. I took it. Chapter 773 The Wind and Clouds Gather Wano-kuni. Vlad and the guy named Big News Morgans were good friends, at least until Vlad did something to disappoint each other, so it wasn't that hard to understand as good friends helping each other. Let Morgans help him send a news. This is not something that Vlad can't do, it is quite easy. Not to mention, the news that he let Morgans spread to the sea this time is still so explosive, and he doesn't need to urge him. As long as the news tells Morgans, this man will do everything in a frenzy and do everything independently. To let everyone know such a news, as a journalist head, what is surging in Morgan's heart is the blood that will never stop doing things. He has never been a guy who is willing to be lonely. He wants to see yes, the world turns. And now, what Vlad wants to spread is the biggest change in the world. There is no superfluous content on the thin newspaper. Morgans is really excited. All other content in this issue of the newspaper has been deleted, leaving only the only content. He believes that the only content is more than usual. Dozens and hundreds of useful information are coming. The newspaper, the only content was a letter from Vlad the Fire Dragon to Kaido of the Beasts, and things got to the point where Vlad certainly had nothing else to say to Kaido. So much fanfare. The announcement to the world is certainly not just to wish the well-being of Kaido's family. Just kidding. This guy, Fire Dragon. It's too bold. The scattered newspapers have attracted a lot of discussion all over the world. No one thought that Vlad the Fire Dragon would have made such a decision in such a short period of time. It is really amazing. How long has it been since the collapse of the Big Mom pirates? Pressing his hand on his head and twitching constantly, as if he was about to scratch his scalp, the man roared in horror. I immediately aimed at Kaido of the Beasts. Fire Dragon, he wants to destroy the world. To maintain the stability of the world are generally two forces, the government and the pirates, and then to be more specific, that is the Marine, the Four Emperors, and the Shichibukai. The balance of the three forces is the stability of the world. But this is the old yellow calendar. Shichibukai is now incomplete and almost in a state of collapse. Marine is as strong as ever. Then the Four Emperors, the Big Mom pirates are destroyed. The strength of the Fire Dragon pirates is unprecedentedly expanded. The balance of the world is at stake, and there will be at any time may collapse completely. Then, the newspapers of the day brought news of a broken balance. This is a gauntlet, and of course it can only be a gauntlet. Vlad thinks that the time is ripe, and there is no need to keep the so-called Four Emperors to get in the way. Charlotte Linlin has already been killed by him, so the rest the two guys can't keep them waiting too long, can they? Only one emperor standing on top of all pirates is enough. Vlad thinks so. Even now Charlotte Linlin is no longer there, but isn't 3 emperors too many? Kaido is the second target that Vlad decided. This guy is much more troublesome than the redhead, so the tough bones are solved first, so this gauntlet is presented in front of everyone. Attack Wano-kuni in a month. The central content of this letter is this. Everyone knows that Kaido of the Beasts, one of the 4 emperors, has occupied Wano Kuni, which is already the base camp of the Beast Pirates. Attacking Wano Kuni means that the Fire Dragon Pirates if you want to destroy the Beast Pirates in one battle, the Beast Pirates who are listed as the 4 Emperors Pirates will be removed from the sea directly. It's really shocking news, as long as you're not blind, or in other words, even a blind person can see that the Fire Dragon has indeed begun to go on the road of One Piece, King of Pirates, and it is the one who is above everything. Wong, therefore, the so-called 4 emperors are not needed. Hum hum ha 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 ha. In a certain corner of the New World, a man in a black cloak let out a low laugh, and a man with a scar running across his entire face laughed, as that guy the clown the wolf smoked that started the war. It's a fight between 2 monsters. What shall we do next? Wearing a black suit with a bald head, the extremely imposing man whispered, Wano Kuni's war, shall we go over? What's the reason to miss it? The name is Crocodile, one of the former Shichibukai, one of the worthy heroes in the sea, with a smile on his face. It is a mocking smile as always. It seems that there is nothing in the world that can make him serious, a very lazy smile. Maybe it is a war that completely changes the old and new eras. I really can't think of any reason to miss this war. Got it. The bald man nodded silently. Dash 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 dash. Have you sailed again? On a certain island, a man with extremely sharp pupils had a faint smile on his lips, Roronoa. Can you survive this war? Hawkeye chuckled, I will go anyway. If the ambition is One Piece, King of Pirates, then this war will not be missed no matter what. Straw Hat, then, Roronoa, try to be stronger. I'm already, impatiently waiting. Dash 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 dash. Kid, are you really going? Wano Kuni. The man with the mask and long golden hair said solemnly, to be honest, neither the Fire Dragon Pirates nor the 100 Beasts Pirates is an opponent we can defeat. Hey, it's rumored everywhere that the Fire Dragon is the new One Piece, King of Pirates. The red-haired man had a wanton smile on his face. Hey, I can't listen to this anymore. It's really annoying. It's not good if you don't take a look. Dash 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 dash. Hey, Snake, where are you going? The location was 9 Snake Island, and the white-haired old woman looked a little surprised when she saw the beautiful woman who was instructing her men to pack up. You're not going to Wano Kuni, are you? Shut up if you know. She is obviously a beautiful woman, but her temper is quite bad. You don't want to help Fire Dragon, do you? Old woman's eyes widened. Don't be stupid. Snake Princess, where does that monster need your help? Did Aunt Charlotte Linlin be killed by him? And, don't forget your identity, you are the Emperor of the 9 Snakes, Amazon Lily, but it's because of your Shichibukai title that you survived from Marine. You want to offend the government. Bang. The old woman was kicked out by the Empress. Funny old woman. Snake Princess held her head high. Do you need your permission to do anything that the concubine wants to do? Beautiful women should be forgiven for whatever they do, which is Bohancock's unpretentious but very practical values. Chapter 774 Marine's Big Move. The news is still spreading. The news of the Fire Dragon Pirates' declaration of war on the Beasts Pirates has been flying all over the sea in the blink of an eye like a bird with wings. It roared at an astonishing speed, and everyone was starting to realize it. Finally the day has come. The New World, on the back of the elephant walking on the sea, the cat with the pipe and the dog with the long sword around his waist met again after a long time. Brother Vlad has decided to go to war with Kaido. That is to say, the giant cat with a pipe in his mouth, the guy known as the eldest of the cat-bellied snakes, smiled. Such a smile actually gave people a cute feeling. It's finally time to take revenge on Odin, Sama and the Kazuki family. It's been too long to wait. Sitting on the side, the dog named Duka Nuarashi said solemnly, our dear friend, since ancient times, the people we respect have been devastated, but there is nothing we can do. Such a long wait is finally over. Then there is nothing to hesitate. The cat-bellied snake laughed loudly. Let's go then. The goal is the Fire Dragon Kingdom. Go and make peace with Vlad. Then, the target is Wanokuni. The Fur Tribe, join the war to confirm. Dash 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 dash. What a terrible junior. In a certain sea area in the New World, a huge pirate ship is moving slowly, and there is absolutely no fool to come to find them trouble, because the name of this big ship is Redford. The 4 Emperor Pirates, the Red Hare See the ship of the thief group, placed in the New World, is definitely a frightening existence, and anyone with eyes should not come to court death. With a cigarette in his mouth, the man named Ben Beckman chuckled. How long has it been since Charlotte Linlin's body is still cold? Are you going to decide to shoot Kaido soon? Ha ha ha, get ready, Beckman. Him, a one-armed man with red hair smiled. After Kaido, it's us. I'm still looking forward to the showdown with that man. Are you so unsure about Kaido? Beckman Vivi was a little surprised. That guy Kaido is still different from Charlotte Linlin. Shinx, you should know his strength better than me. Indeed, that guy Kaido is a well-deserved monster. The redhead shook his head, but he can't beat the Fire Dragon. Well, Beckman was a little puzzled. Why? Why? Redhead replied with a smile. Because a man whose heart is full of dreams will never lose. Really? Beckman smiled. So, if Luffy goes to war with the dragon, who will win? As for the persistence of the dream, the Straw Hat has never been afraid of anyone, and the Red Hare is very clear about this, but the current Straw Hat can never win the Fire Dragon, and the Red Hare is also very confirmed. Ha ha ha, that's right. The redhead scratched the back of his head and smiled, looking a little embarrassed. At the same time as the sea was surging, the most center of justice, Marine Headquarters, Marineford, of course, also received news. Before Vlad's gauntlet was sent out, Marine had already started to prepare silently. After all, this time the war was declared. The precursory incident is quite obvious. A Shichibukai as big as Doflamingo was killed by the Fire Dragon under the nose of the government. Of course, the relationship between Doflamingo and Kaido cannot be concealed from the government, so the attitude of the Fire Dragon towards Kaido is easy to guess. This is the best chance. The huge conference room is already full. The high-level officers of Marine Headquarters have gathered here. The senior officers above Vice Admiral of the headquarters have all gathered here, and the power of absolute justice is now concentrated here. The beautiful woman said, "This war is a good opportunity for us. It is not impossible to solve the 4 emperors at one time. The contradiction between the Fire Dragon and Kaido is irreconcilable." The woman has pink hair, a cigarette in her mouth. Her name is Tina, Vice Admiral from the Marine Headquarters. She is regarded as a young talent in Marine. Of course, it is comparable to the previous generation's Red and Yellow, and the previous generation's Garp Zephyr Sengoku Crane. It's a lot worse to get up. Marine, it's really green and yellow. They won't stop fighting easily, so we can take advantage of the fact that they are both beaten, and we can deal with the 4 emperors one by one. There was some excitement in Tina's voice. In this case, the 4 emperors will only have one red hair left, and it will be much easier to solve it. She is not the only one who thinks this way. Almost all the Marines present think so, and things are likely to develop as they expected. This is indeed the closest time Marine has been to sweeping away the garbage on the sea. Pirates have been Marine's enemies since ancient times. This situation has become more pronounced since the beginning of the era of the great pirates. The power of pirates has made Marine a little tired, so the appearance of the 4 emperors is somewhat logical, and Marine is helpless, so the growth of the pirates is also natural. And now, if he seizes the opportunity, after the defeat between the Beast Pirates and the Fire Dragon Pirates, Marine can completely take down 4 Emperor Pirates at one time, then, in the end, there is only one redhead left. There's no more threat, and Marine can kill him at his fingertips. Prepare to mobilize troops. Sitting at the top, Marshal Akainu whispered, "Ready to fight. This time, I will lead the team myself." Kazaru below looked a little surprised. Akainu, are you on your own? Are you taking it too seriously? Fire Dragon and Kaido. Akainu said, everyone is a tough guy, even if they're going to war now, but that's not a reason to take it lightly. Kazaru and Fujitora, you guys come with me. Chaton, Tokikake, too. For Motobu, Ryokugyu and Momoshiki are enough too. Quote. Surprised, extremely amazed expressions appeared on the faces of all the senior Marines. Is this kind of force configuration a bit too much, basically pulling out most of the Marine's senior combat power? But what if pirates take the opportunity to attack the headquarters? There are concerns. Idiot. Akainu scolded mercilessly, how can anyone still invade the headquarters at this time? Besides, the troops left are enough. Dare to fight with the Marine headquarters, and now there is only one red-haired pirate left, but will the red-haired come? Of course not, he is not a guy who is afraid that the world will not be in chaos. Besides, Ryokugyu and Momoshiki who stayed behind were not weak. With such a force, all the Marine generals unconsciously spit out a mouthful of spit. With such a force, they can easily crush the combat power of 4 Emperor pirates. Marine, this time is really a big move. If it really develops like this, maybe Vlad will be out of luck, but... Blue 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 blue. Quote. Excited phone bugs broke the silence. Chapter 775 Revolutionary Revolution. The Great Wave of the Times. Oh. Vlad was lying on the reclining chair, without the tension before the war at all. He was shirtless, with a cup of shaved ice beside him. He looked very comfortable. It was as leisurely as he was on vacation. The battle a month later, as if Kaido was on his mind, was very casual. Holding a newspaper in his hand, he looked a little amazed. This has already begun. It's really surprising, has it come to such a point? The big news on the sea has been really continuous recently. Of course, most of the incidents were caused by the Fire Dragon pirates. Vlad still has this self-consciousness. After all, it has reached this point now, and there is no hiding anything. Meaning, Vlad doesn't care anymore. It's interesting to make big news, isn't it? It is really cool to have the entire ocean shake because of his every move. Then, finally, today, he finally played the role of a melon eater. The newspaper in his hand really surprised him, because the news reported in the newspaper was really amazing. Spreading out the newspaper, the first thing I saw were the faces of 2 men, 2 faces that Vlad was quite familiar with. One was a middle-aged man with a red tattoo on his face, and the other looked young. With smiling man's face. Vlad of course recognized that these 2 guys are the supreme commander of the Revolutionary Army and his best partner, Monkey Dragon. This man's appearance is not too special. The recognition degree is too high. Of course, there is no reason why he cannot recognize it. Another man is also an old acquaintance of Vlad, a subordinate of the Fire Dragon pirates, and the current supreme commander of the Fire Dragon Kingdom. Of course, according to reports, he is also one of the top members of the Revolutionary Army, a guy named Jack. Although Vlad knew for a long time that Mr. Jack had been united with Dragon and the Revolutionary Army's friends, he really did not expect such a movement after they were united. No, maybe it should be said, to have made such a big noise so quickly, Vlad thought it would take a while, but he didn't expect that they could not bear it so soon, or that they were already fully prepared. Today's newspaper is like the day Vlad declared war on Kaido a few days ago. The whole newspaper only reports one news, which is also earth-shattering news. This is quite interesting. Vlad smiled, looking very happy. In this case, the opening can already be announced, right? The most turbulent and the most wonderful era has officially arrived. It's not bad. What a good job, Dragon. I really didn't expect that Dragon has already achieved such a level in silence. There is only one news reported in the newspapers, that is, the revolution broke out. It's not like the previous petty play, playing hide and seek with the government, running away immediately after overthrowing a country, evading the government's pursuit, and then watching the country rebuild. This time is different. Everyone is aware of this, because it is so obvious that anyone who is not a fool can realize the difference. Something astonishing has happened, something that would surprise anyone has happened. In fact, just as Vlad marvels, Mariajoy, the dudes who purportedly hold the highest power in the world, are also furious about this time. Damn it, dragon, you bastard. Gorose, 5 elders with blonde hair, had a look of anger on his face. Blue veins kept jumping on his forehead, obviously furious. How dare he? HMPH, why doesn't he dare? The bearded Gorose, 5 elders grunted. What else would that man dare not to do? Shouldn't he have known it long ago when he raised the banner of the Revolutionary Army and declared that he was going to be the enemy of the government? That guy already the government treats Tenryubito, God, as an enemy. Quote. That bastard. Gorose, 5 elders, who have no hair at all, are also very angry. His son is now out to sea again, and the fall of the bastard Doflamingo also has a share of that boy. Speaking of Doflamingo, the sword-wielding Gorose, 5 elders said solemnly, that guy was captured by the dragon before he was executed, right? The problem is, did that bastard reveal what he knew to the dragon? The bearded Gorose, 5 elders also said solemnly, if that's true, it would be too much trouble. That bastard fire dragon is already tough enough. If he masters Tenryubito's secret treasure, it will be a big trouble. Quote. If the fire dragon said it, he also blamed him for seeking his own death. Bald Gorose, 5 elders sneered, you dare to fight Kaido when you know that the government is already targeting him. This time is the right time to get rid of him. But because of that bastard from Dragon, it's impossible for Marine to go all out as planned. We must allocate most of our troops to suppress the world. The bearded Gorose, 5 elders emphasized, the power that can be sent out is very limited. It is not so sure to kill the dragon. After all, it's still that bastard's fault at dragon. Bald Gorose, 5 elders said angrily, did you decide to attack now just to protect your allies? Damn, it's just a group of rebels, and it's quite loyal. Just send CP0 out too. Now the Revolutionary Army has come to the bright side. Blonde Gorose, 5 elders said, if Marine can't go all out, then the vacant combat power will be topped by CP0. Aren't the villains included in the war a very good combat power? That's fine, too. The long-bearded Gorose, 5 elders nodded, this is indeed a good idea, and the fighting power of that group is not weak. Of course, they can help Marine. That's it for the fire dragon. Marine dispatched 2 admirals and then cooperated with these people from CP0, if it really doesn't work. The bearded Gorose, 5 elders resolutely said, that bastard Kaido doesn't have to be eliminated now, and it's not impossible to let him go for a while. So, the main thing to solve now is Dragon instead. Gorose, 5 elders frowned. Of course it's him. Bald Gorose, 5 elders said with hatred, officially declared war with the government. Almost the entire South Blue has now been subverted. Far more than that, the wave of revolution has spread to the sea everywhere. I don't know how much power is hidden. I don't know how many countries have invested in their arms. This guy has undoubtedly become the government's confidant. Chapter 776 Assemble, Fire Dragon Fleet. Dragon and his revolutionary army really made a very big movement, and it was big enough to bite his teeth in surprise. Even Vlad was surprised when he first got the news. This is true not some hard news to love. The world government is the ruler of this world. This is an iron rule that everyone has kept in their hearts since 800 years ago. It is the world's strongest power with half of the countries joining. This is a fact recognized by everyone, even in large countries. Pirate heroes galloping on the sea, even monsters of the level of the 4 emperors, even they have to admit that they cannot shake the rule of the government, even the 4 emperors. After all, the 4 sovereigns are nothing but 4 warlords entrenched in the New World. For the government, they have not reached the level of threat to shake their foundations. After all, in the past 800 years, I don't know how many guys similar to the 4 emperors have appeared, but the only one that has survived until now is the world government. Those who were once tyrannical powers have even been surrounded by legends. In this case, you can probably understand why the government's attitude towards the four emperors is not to shout and kill them all, because there is no need. A simple example, if Whitebeard and Charlotte Linlin are still alive, then it is a decade or two. Kung Fu, these guys will die of old age, their subordinates are not monsters like them, as long as the expansion of their strength is curbed. There is no need to completely annihilate them, and keeping them is also a weakening of the power of the pirates. Of course, over the years, the world government has also played a game, and One Piece King of Pirates Gul D. Roger really gave them a big surprise. Then, now, the invincible government has finally ushered in its biggest challenger. The Revolutionary Army changed its past petty fights and directly gave the government a big surprise. The wave of revolution swept the entire South Blue directly. The strange thing is, there is no shadow of the Revolutionary Army in it. It seems to be the spontaneous action of the civilians, but what everyone can realize is that this is indeed the ghost of the Revolutionary Army. After all, as soon as the incident happened, the Revolutionary Army immediately went to the newspaper to admit it, and by the way also sent a letter of war to the government. It is only natural that the government will feel overwhelmed. Of course, Vlad has no extra time to deal with such things now, and the battle with the beast pirates is not far away, and all his energy has been devoted to the next battle. Of course he wasn't stupid enough to think that his only opponent was Kaido. Vlad is not a fool. The government has long regarded him as a thorn in the side. After capturing Don Quixote da Flamingo, who knew the secrets of the government, this situation is even worse. So this time the government will not come back to participate in the decisive battle with Kaido. I don't believe it. Vlad understands very well that as his strength gradually develops, the enemy he faces will become stronger and stronger. Fortunately, the process of the enemy becoming stronger has come to an end, and the strongest enemy has appeared. So in order to deal with such a situation, Vlad began to summon all the fighting forces under his command. From all directions in the New World, pirate ships and large fleets began to converge towards the same place. What is this? In the Fire Dragon Kingdom, Dragon Claw Island, Mr. Sero, a small merchant at sea who came here to buy goods with his own boat, was very surprised. He kept the mast of his boat tightly, and made a fuss. A lot of pirate ships. Quote. Next to his boat, one by one huge pirate ships passed by and went forward. Without exception, each pirate ship had a pirate flag hanging on it. The specific number of thieves' ships, I only feel that the densely packed ships are covered with sails that cover the sky and the sun. Are the pirates going to attack the Fire Dragon Kingdom? Zero shouted in surprise. Boss, just say a few words less. The first mate on the ship rolled his eyes, stretched out his right finger and pointed to the sky. Don't you see those flags hanging on top of the mast? Don't these pirate ships have the same flag? Boss, these pirate ships, they are all under the Fire Dragon pirates. Since the battle with Kaido is about to begin, everyone is starting to gather towards the Fire Dragon Kingdom, right? Zero looked like an honest man, making a big fuss. Is there so much? Are these huge pirate ships all under the command of the Fire Dragon pirates? Boss Zero, who has never seen anything in the world, is already a little confused. Boss, what kind of existence do you think the Fire Dragon pirates are? The first mate looked helpless. Although it is still called the Four Emperors, anyone with a discerning eye can see that the strength of the Fire Dragon pirates is beyond the level of the Four Emperors, and this is only a small part of it. Quote. The number of joining pirates under the Fire Dragon pirates has already exceeded 50. After the collapse of the BIGMOM pirates, the Fire Dragon pirates ushered in a new wave of joining frenzy, which is no longer the same as the previous situation. Moreover, not all pirate groups have only one ship. In fact, in the New World, there are quite a few pirate groups with more than 10 large ships, so such a number of pirate fleets is really nothing. The enemy is Kaido. Zero looked a little surprised. I still know about that monster. It's called the strongest creature, right? Can the Fire Dragon win against the strongest guy in the sea, land and air? Hey! The first mate looked like he had seen a ghost, and hurriedly covered his boss's mouth, and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. "Boss, there should be a limit if you don't want to die. These guys are pirates. They are not philanthropists, but don't speak ill of Fire Dragon in front of them." Amount. Zero looked a little embarrassed, nodded, indicating that he already understood. The first mate released him, and watched the pirate fleet go away. The little businessman smiled. "If you really want to split up if we win or lose, let's hope the Fire Dragon wins. The places he rules are better than the places the government rules." "Everyone hopes so." The mate nodded in agreement. Gollum. There was a sudden burst of waves on the sea, and bubbles kept rushing to the surface, as if something was moving below. "Hey!" Taken aback by the sudden turbulence, Captain Zero said in surprise, "What's the matter? Is there something under the sea?" "I don't know." The first mate was also very surprised. "Is it a school of fish? Is a huge school of fish passing under us?" No matter what, one force after another has begun to gather towards the Fire Dragon Kingdom. Chapter 777 Vegapunk's Big Surprise. "Oh, it's been a long time, Miss Leah." In the spacious hall, Vlad looked very happy and greeted with a smile on his face. "Well, what a long time no see." In front of Vlad, the beautiful and moving mermaid lady also looked very cheerful. "Mr. Vlad." The girl's name is Leah, the little sister that Vlad knew when he was on Fishman Island, and she is indeed a well-deserved beauty. Now he is the ship doctor of the Sun Pirates. Of course, this Miss Leia is his subordinate today when the Sun Pirates joined the Fire Dragon Pirates. Vlad summoned all the pirates under his command. After all, the opponent was not just Kaido. Therefore, this time, Jinbei was not the only one who came from the Sun Pirates. The Fishman Corps, which numbered more than 5,000, was killed by Jinbei. Led, come to this Fire Dragon Kingdom. Miss Leah believes that Vlad is the hero who changed Fishman Island, sweeping away the dark side of Fishman Island, so that the Fishmons on Fishman Street can finally smoothly integrate into the life of Fishman Island. Zonglai, so Leah wanted to join Vlad's Fire Dragon Pirates, so she chose to be the ship doctor of the Sun Pirates, and now, she seems to be able to help Vlad at last. Miss Leah is among them. After careful calculation, she has not seen each other for about 2 years. She will be happy to meet again after a long absence. This is the most essential happiness of human beings, so Vlad is also very happy. It is indeed a very interesting thing to meet the beautiful young lady again and fulfill the original promise. This time, I can finally help Mr. Vlad. There is a bubble in the position of Leah's waist, which can make her float in the air, allowing her to move freely on land, just like it can make humans move under the sea, a very convenient thing. I'm looking forward to it. Vlad smiled. If it was Leah, it would definitely be of great help to me. Hey hey hey. The little sister smiled proudly, very cute. Ha ha. Vlad smiled mildly, being believed by others. It's not a bad feeling that someone wants to help him. After all, people are social creatures. The so-called lonely strong people are really pitiful. Rubbing the hair on Leah's head, Vlad said, although I'm really looking forward to your performance, Leah, but as a medical staff, please take care to protect yourself. After all, you are alive, that means more people can be treated by you. Yeah. Leah nodded heavily. Of course, in the team battle, the nurse must of course be in the back row. The arrival of Vlad of the Sun Pirates at this time was somewhat unexpected. After all, this is a force that is not weak. The average strength of the low-level combat power of the Fishman clan is definitely above that of humans, not to mention said that this world is the world of the sea, and the sea is the home of the Fishman family. Vlad initially thought that the Sun Pirates would not be able to keep up with this war. After all, it would take a lot of time to train a group of gangsters who would only be vicious in their hometown into a group of qualified fighters, but in the end it did. Catching up, Vlad was delighted. In this case, all the power has been gathered. Vlad thought so. The war can start immediately. There is nothing to be afraid of. Vlad boldly set up a flag. Captain. Crack. The thunderbolt came out of the wall and turned into a pillar of thunder and bombarded in front of Vlad. The man incarnated by thunder and lightning had appeared in front of Vlad. "There's one thing you might as well go and see for yourself." Enel said so. Vlad frowned. "Don't say that. It's time for you to have some blind-eyed idiots doing things. Pirates are pirates after all, even if he is a pirate himself, but what Vlad has to admit is that pirates really represent disorder and chaos. If you want a pirate order to ban, forget it, that is marine." In fact, just when the Fire Dragon fleet began to gather, conflicts broke out among several pirate groups under its command, and even casualties occurred. Although they were also under the command of the Fire Dragon pirates, they did not represent all the pirates under their command. The pirate group really had one heart, so Vlad made a quick decision and sank all the 2 pirate groups that had caused their lives to the bottom of the sea, which made these bastards quieter. Vlad felt very annoyed. At this time, he has achieved this point, and there are still things that are not long-sighted. Is it true that Tai Tai doesn't want to live? No. Enel had an excited smile on his face. "I don't care what those idiots do, except, Captain, Vegapunk asked me to tell you that he has something for you to see." Well. Vlad's eyes lit up, as that thing finished. Vlad hadn't seen Dr. Vegapunk for a long time. That man and Paso belonged to the same category. They were both people who would never wake up once they entered the state of scientific research. After struggling for a long time, Vlad almost forgot what this man looked like. Vegapunk is an unquestionable genius, and what has taken him so long to come up with is certainly astonishing, he told Vlad. It's a step up from the pacifists. The pacifists plan a study that has been initiated after completion. The purpose of this study is to replace King Shichibukai. What Vegapunk said to Vlad at the time, and Vlad remembers it quite clearly. Ah. Vlad grinned and laughed. That's so timely, just before the war. The location is the Fire Dragon Kingdom, Thassa Island, under the sea where the Fire Dragon pirates are stationed, a scientific research island hidden in the sea, and now Vegapunk's site. Hurry up fast. Around Vegapunk like a child. "Doctor, let me see it." "What the hell is that thing?" What an impatient brat. With thick dark circles like ink drawn around his eyes, Vegapunk looked like he hadn't slept in a long time, and looked weak. Hey. Vlad smiled, because it's really amazing. "Lord Doctor." "Speaking of it." Vegapunk nodded. "Thanks to that idiot Caesar, his artificial devil fruit is really good as an ingredient." "Yeah." Vlad grinned. "It's quite a good thing to make." Chapter 778 Dispatched. The prelude to the battle. It's dispatched. In a certain sea area in the New World, on a certain pirate ship, the unknown pirate captain shouted in surprise, "The Fire Dragon pirates have been dispatched." Is this the beginning? Across the ocean, in an unknown pirate group, the captain laughed excitedly. Has this war finally begun? Hey, what will happen to the future of the world? The Fire Dragon pirates and the Beast pirates, this time only one of them must survive. Someone laughed excitedly. Is it the strongest creature in the world? The undead Kaido of the beasts is better, or is it a rising star who is invincible and defeated Bigmom Charlotte Linlin's Fire Dragon to win? Quote. Someone was overwhelmed with excitement. Where is the world going? Of course, there are also people who are worried. The 4 emperors are about to fall again. The pattern of the world has completely changed. Will the new One Piece King of Pirates really appear soon? The era of the great pirates created by that guy Roger. Is the climax coming soon? What is the sea waiting for? Quote. As everyone knows, the war has already begun, and the huge fleet of fire dragons has already started, slowly disappearing towards Wano-Kuni, thousands of miles away. Just an hour after the dragon fleet set sail, the first newspaper to report on this matter had already spread to the New World. Although Morgans is Vlad's partner, the essence of this guy is after all a person who is afraid of chaos in the world. Reporters, such big news will certainly not be missed. Vlad didn't care either. He knew it if he knew it, he couldn't hide it anyway. The mighty fleet sailed away into the wind, like a boundless tsunami. The number of personnel was close to 100,000, which was an extremely terrifying value. They are all ferocious pirates with extraordinary strength. Even the Whitebeard pirates at their peak of this scale cannot match. The Fire Dragon pirates have replaced the Whitebeard pirates. There are more and more people in the sea who think so. The Whitebeard pirates have never defeated the 4 emperors, but the Fire Dragon pirates have. The Whitebeard pirates were at their peak. There are more than 40 pirates in the scale, but the Fire Dragon pirates have already exploded. Whitebeard Edward Newgate has the title of the strongest man in the world, but Vlad also has a record of defeating Charlotte Linlin, which is unique among the 4. The Emperor's defeat. The Whitebeard pirates, there seems to be no problem calling the Fire Dragon pirates the strongest. There is not one person who thinks so. Of course, Vlad also believed that his pirate group was worthy of such a title. The sails that cover the sky, do not know where to spread, move like a huge land, and the clouds in the sky do not have such brilliance. On the platinum D-drag floating in the sky, Vlad looked very satisfied. Woo-ha-ha, all the conditions are in place. We will win this war. Is it really okay to be so conceited before you start fighting? Behind Vlad, the maid with a cigarette in her mouth poured cold water. The opponent is the invincible Kaido of the beasts, Captain. I'm still the invincible Fire Dragon Vlad. Vlad frowned. It's never wrong to be careful. Chef laughed. Only a fool would treat his opponent as a fool. Chef. Vlad turned his head strangely. Are you implying me? No. Chef smiled and shook his head. I'm just saying that strategically we can despise our opponents, but tactically, we must pay attention to our opponents. I know. Vlad waved his hand. Got it, Mr. Dino. Teacher or something. The chef looked embarrassed. It's useless. The beautiful girl, the musician lady of the Fire Dragon pirates laughed. The captain will never listen to persuasion. Vlad, who has always only done what he wants to do, is by no means a person who is good at doing good things. Kong kang 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 kang. The low voice kept coming from one side. The man named Sakata pressed his left hand on the hilt of the sword at his waist, kept pushing out the blade, and kept retracting the blade back into the sheath. His eyes were extremely focused, as if there was lightning. It's like radiating from the inside. Calm down. Vlad patted Sakata's shoulder with a big hand, and said softly, calm down, Sakata, it's been 3 years, so you don't care about the last bit of time, right? 3 years have passed, and 3 years have passed since the destruction of the Kazuki family. It has been 3 years since I watched my teacher and my younger brother die in battle, and my home was destroyed. The closer you get to Wano Kuni, the more unbearable it is. Vlad understood. Yeah. Sakata nodded. Although his hand was still on the hilt, he was not making a clanging sound. That's fine. Vlad smiled and said, after accumulating all the anger, won't it be possible to make the strongest slash then? What's the point of this? Sakata gave Vlad a sidelong glance. He had never heard such logic in the more than 20 years of studying swordsmanship. Isn't it enough to only need strength to look at people? Spot the shadow of the ship ahead. Across the big ship. Back in time earlier, the location is Wano Kuni, the capital of flowers, the capital of Wano Kuni, among the huge palace complex, the Tiansho Pavilion. The Fire Dragon pirates have arrived. With a calm face, the man sitting behind the small table whispered, it is said that the scale is terrible. Cut. Opposite him, the unruly man sitting cross-legged on the floor held a huge wine gourd in his hand. He poured wine into his mouth and said disdainfully, what's the use of having more trash? The little devil of the Fire Dragon understands what power is. It's really a child's language. The man's name is Kurozumi Orochi, General Wano Kuni, now Kaido's partner, and now the number 2 person in Wano Kuni. The Fire Dragon guy is not an easy opponent to solve. Kaido, figure this out. Are you berating me? Kaido's eyes slammed, and the terrifying momentum spread. and cracks began to appear in the surrounding buildings. Kurozumi. I said don't call me that. Kurozumi Orochi was not to be outdone. The Wanokuni duo have a surprisingly good relationship. Chapter 779 The battle begins. Spot the shadow of the ship ahead. This kind of sound echoed on the big ship. The Fire Dragon fleet has been connected through hundreds of telephone bugs. This thing is really very useful, and it can maintain contact between people at any time, just like now. Even when flying in the Platinum D-Drake in the air can also immediately get the information from the ships ahead. Oh. Vlad raised his eyebrows. So soon. Interesting, what was that guy Kaido thinking? He is a little curious, and the fool knows that as long as Kaido does not lead the team himself, as long as the entire 100 beast pirates are not dispatched together, and the pirates simply lead the team to attack the Fire Dragon fleet, then it is purely an act of courting death. Can an idiot cause Vlad the loss of even a ship? But it did appear, and it didn't make Vlad wait long. Ahead, a mighty pirate fleet appeared in front of Vlad like this, hanging the banner of the 100 Beasts Pirates, obviously the 100 Beasts Pirates. The pirate group under the Beast Pirates. Vlad is not blind. What on earth is this guy Kaido thinking? Vlad looked puzzled. Is it because there are too many pirates under his command, so it is a waste of resources, so you decided to let them die? That's not even possible. Behind Vlad, Luo smiled. That guy Kaido is a lunatic, no one knows what he's thinking. Could it be a trap? Maid said, is that guy Kaido actually on the boat? If that's the case, Cook said casually, then it should have rushed towards the captain by now. Vlad's level of ridicule towards Kaido is actually quite high. Kaido's hatred for Vlad has reached the point where he wants to tear him to pieces when he sees Vlad's face. Kaido is not a fool, but he is not a scheming strategist. If he has really come over, he must have rushed towards Vlad. Forget it. Vlad shook his head. Don't think about the things you can't figure out. This is not only useless, but it will only make people more irritable. I don't have so many worries. Who cares what that guy Kaido thinks? In the name of my dragon Vlad. Vlad picked up a phone bug and said with a smile, inform the entire Fire Dragon fleet, the battle begins. Destroy the entire enemy fleet. Using sound waves as the carrier and telephone bugs as the medium, the order was transmitted towards the fleet that was generally scattered above the sea, and was heard by everyone in an instant. Hey, is it finally time to fight? Holding a huge rocket launcher in his hand, the man whose name is Waipa is now also a member of the Fire Dragon fleet, with a fanatical smile on his face, a subordinate of the Fire Dragon Pirates, the Angel Legion. This young master's glory will spread all over the world this time. With a rose in his mouth, a man with a halo around you for some reason, the well-known host of Fire Dragon TV, White Horse Cavendish, looks very intoxicated. Hey, this time is the time to show our strength in front of Lord Vlad. The body has been transformed into a gorilla, and the man named Eddie is laughing. Vlad's order has spread throughout the entire fleet, and different people have heard different reactions, but all these differences contain the same thing, which converges into the same voice. So Vlad heard the voice from the phone bug. Yes. Unanimous voice, the voice of fighting intent. The battle, this is the beginning. Boom 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 boom. The artillery salvo fired, and the ships located in the middle and rear did not need to hit the hull horizontally, and only use the artillery in the bow to fire. But under the amazing increase in the number of ships, a black cloud was immediately formed above the sky. The gathered cloud of death. Bang 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 bang. The turbulent water column rose into the sky, and the shells carried powerful kinetic energy from the sky and bombarded the seabed heavily. The turbulent wave was formed in this way. Of course, not all the shells were bombarded in the sea in vain. Although the number is far less than that of the Fire Dragon fleet, the number of ships in the fleet of the Beast Pirates still exceeded 50, so faced with a rain of shells on such a scale, there is no reason why a huge fleet can completely avoid the attack by moving around. Hey! The body was directly hit by the artillery, and only had time to cry. The stern was shot. Go and put out the fire. The artillery with a long tail flame bombarded the stern, and after a strong explosion, the flames spread instantly. The cabin was shot. Be careful. I just wanted to deal with the topic, but unfortunately, the place where it was hit was the ammunition warehouse, which exploded, and immediately smashed the big ship into pieces. In just a few rounds of salvos, nearly 10 ships were bombed into the seabed. The so-called heavy losses may refer to such a situation. Damn, fight back. On a certain pirate ship, a certain pirate captain shouted angrily, "Don't stand stupid. Let those guys see how powerful we are." "No, Captain." The pirates under him exclaimed, "The scale gap is too big. Our firepower is completely useless. Damn, why on earth are we doing such a mission?" Pirate captain's face was full of despair. Damn, it must be the general who spread the news. How could Lord Kaido watch us come to die? There's still time to look around. Loud laughter fell from the sky, and a huge black shadow had suddenly bombarded the deck. Then, under the cover of artillery fire, the ships at the forefront of the Fire Dragon fleet had already rushed to this side, and the battle of picking up the ship could already begin. Boom! The deck was shattered in an instant. What? There was a tumultuous tumbling on the ground, and the pirate captain looked very surprised. Snake. The huge snake fell from the sky like a pillar. The head part has been smashed into the bottom of the boat, and the tail part is held in the hand of a certain man. The man's name is Waipa. Hey! Waipa had a playful smile on his face. Where are you looking? Huh? His eyes suddenly stared, and he shot up from the deck. The pirate captain had already jumped into the air. Boom! The deck shattered suddenly, and the huge snake head smashed the deck from below, and its mouth grew up and bit directly at the pirate captain. HMPH, naive. The pirate captain shouted in such a low voice. Who is it? Waipa gently isho. Beep. A light suddenly flickered from the snake's mouth, which exuded a strong stench. Quote ? There. The scorching flames have instantly wrapped the pirate captain. Beautiful sword. With a low roar, a dazzling slash shot up into the sky, and the ship under his feet instantly became two halves. Hey, Cavendish. Waipa was angry. The battle is one-sided, and the pirates affiliated with the beasts who come here do not seem to be strong players, both in terms of quantity and quality. Already. The ships of the Fire Dragon fleet on the opposite side were already sluggish, and a light suddenly lit up in the dim cabin. Almost. Chapter 780 Boom. What are you thinking, Kurozumi? Wanokuni. The conversation between Kaido and the general continued. Kaido looked a little surprised, although Laosu doesn't care about the life and death of those trash fish, but... Are you a bastard who wants to waste Laosu's things? Kaido doesn't care about the life and death of those idiots who join his subordinates. For the boss of Kaido, those with insufficient strength have no value in life, but even Kaido who doesn't care about his subordinates like this is of course not wanting to see it. His subordinates will die without meaning, even if they are trash, they should be worth the value of trash. Fastest update. Everyone knows that asking those idiots to stop the Fire Dragon pirates is absolutely the same behavior as meat buns and dogs. There is no difference. It is impossible to stop the Fire Dragon's footsteps for a short time. However, the family in front of them did just that, ordering those idiots to stop the Fire Dragon. It was a child's play order. You know the truth. Kurozumi Orochi squinted Kaido and said dismissively, "Don't I understand what you all understand?" Compared with Kurozumi Orochi, Kaido's strength is of course overwhelmingly powerful, but it doesn't mean that the general is afraid of Kaido. After all, how can a pirate group that is full of reckless people have an intellectual responsibility? This role that the 100 Beasts pirates never had in the past is now played by Kurozumi Orochi. The generals are not under 100 Beasts, but Kaido's partners. You guy. Kaido frowned. Are you deliberately angering me? If you want to die, just say it. I'm not that boring, both things. Kurozumi Orochi said, those wastes are useless anyway. Fortunately, let them reuse them again. Of course it's the best to succeed, it doesn't matter if you don't succeed. Well. Kaido was taken aback, what do you mean? Let's wait and see. The general smiled. An overwhelming advantage. In the sky, Vlad sat cross-legged on his throne, grinning, these guys are doing a good job. Well, it doesn't seem like it was a mistake to lend them the flag. What's the use of fighting such a beautiful war? The man with long earlobes smiled with a look of disdain, their battle won't affect the outcome of the final battle even if they are beautiful. I've said it before, Captain, what are you bringing these guys for? Isn't it still us who will win? This is the truth. When the final decisive battle is reached, it is meaningless for the pirates below to fight tragically. The real ones who can decide the outcome are only the cadres of the Fire Dragon Pirates and the Beast Pirates. The Battle of the Monsters, or in other words, the outcome can only be decided by the battle between Vlad and Kaido of the Beasts. Stop talking nonsense. God. Vlad turned his head, stared straight into Enel's eyes, and said in a low voice, make it clear to me, when others are fighting for our lives, just give me a good look, you bastard. However, the so-called strongest can never be achieved by one person. To become the real, undisputed One Piece King of Pirates, Vlad knew that he needed more people to help him. Cut. Enel looked very upset. The battle is still going on, and the pirates under 100 Beasts have now deeply realized the gap. Since it's me, let me know my role. With such a roar, the huge orangutan roared. The fist was covered with a strong armament, the relatively short and stubby legs slammed hard, the deck suddenly shattered, and the huge orangutan rose into the sky, accompanied by two huge fists. Strong gravity fell from the sky, and the terrifying force directly set off a storm. Hey! What is this? Monster! This guy is a monster! The pirates who were blown away by the storm screamed helplessly. The huge ship broke directly, turned into two pieces and began to sink into the sea, setting off a whirlpool on the waves. Ha 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 ha! Holding the mast with monkey-like hands and grasping the mast with flexible feet, the monkey-like face was full of ridicule. Monkeys, understand now. This is our difference. Who the hell is a monkey? Roaring so loudly, the man with the huge hammer in his hand had already leapt towards the boat on this side, and blasted directly at Eddie the orangutan. Bang! Before the attack came, the guy who wanted to attack Eddie the orangutan received a heavy blow on the face. Like a baseball, it slammed into the bottom of the boat. A large hole was opened in the boat, and the water began to pour into the cabin. Jessica. Miss Jessica, who was also the pirate captain of the Fire Dragon Pirates, who was blasting the enemy with a huge cannon. Love me. Cut. Jessica looked very upset. Isn't you included in the attack? Quote. Eddie's face stiffened. Looks like it's almost there. The chef said so. The bottom has almost come to an end, although the pirate group under the 100 Beast Pirates is not inferior to the Fire Dragon fleet in terms of quality, but unfortunately the difference in quantity is too large. It has reached the level of crushing. The battle is over, almost. Can it be concluded? Yeah. Vlad nodded, almost. Yeah, ha ha ha, don't say things like that, Captain. Enel burst out laughing like this, very jokingly. Well. Vlad was stunned for a moment, although he immediately reacted, so did you find something interesting? The special thing about Enel's observation hockey is that he can hear other people's voices. Since he said so, of course Vlad will understand immediately. This guy must have found something. If he said that, Kaido guy, sure enough there is a conspiracy. It really doesn't fit Kaido's character, Vlad thought. Hey. Enel didn't speak, just smiled. Okay. Vlad waved his hand. You go, do what you want. It would have been better if I said that earlier. Enel smiled, and immediately turned into a flash of electric light. Hey, come here a little. Inside a certain crumbling pirate ship, the guy hidden in the shadows smiled lowly. Fire Dragon Pirates, come a little more. Come a little more. I'll blow you up right now. Crackling. The dazzling electric light flickered suddenly. What? Boom. The terrifying explosion swept the world in an instant.